Raphael and Enrica stood together in front of the wedding hall. She wore a beautiful dress, a happy smile on her face. I'm getting married to an Earl who was originally just an insignificant side character. A marriage of convenience. Yet, today, I am the happiest bride in the world. Because originally, I was destined to be brutally murdered on my wedding night. At the hands of Raphael Cronhart, the villainous Grand Duke in the original story, and also my fiancée. Enrica closed her eyes, trembling. She glanced at Raphael and pondered. This man saved me. Earl Barington. Although just a side character never mentioned in the original story, he is surprisingly handsome. Enrica spoke sweetly. Kale, thank you for accepting this marriage of convenience. If it weren't for you, I would certainly have become the Grand Duke's bride or had to run away. He paused for a moment when he heard her. Then Raphael smiled gently in response. Likewise, I'm so glad I met you before you ran away. He gave a dazzling smile that made her shield her eyes so bright. Enrica and Raphael walked inside as another man announced, well then, before the bride and groom enter, allow me to introduce them. The bride, eldest daughter of the Winterso ducal family, Duchess Enrica Winterso. The groom, he is the Lord of Zine, Galusi, Eliuimi, Martina, and Elusor. Enrica was surprised and quickly turned to ask him, You own that much land? Raphael didn't explain further. He just smiled sheepishly. The man continued to list, and the Earl of Lucio, Cania, Grio, Lorio, Puvenit, and Tanas, the Marquis of the Canet Border, Liner, and the Commander of the Knights of Light. Enrica worriedly wondered, how can a side character have such a high status? Well, whatever, as long as it's not the Grand Duke from the original story, anyone is fine. The man continued, making her eyes widen. The Sword of the Empire, head of the Cronhart Grand Ducal family. Grand Duke Raphael Cronhart, please enter. Enrica paused for a few seconds, doubting herself. Wait a minute. She looked at Raphael's calm face. He looked at her with a cheerful smile, then gently reached out and touched her face. Let's go, my bride. Enrica couldn't help but be surprised, thinking to herself, what is this situation? The novel I transmigrated into just a month ago, Moon Under the Shadow. Moon Under the Shadow. In this novel, there's a character even more beloved than the male and female leads. It's the villainous Grand Duke who appears as her aide. The never-boring keywords like love-hate, master-servant relationship, along with ambiguous feelings portrayed as love. The chemistry between the attractive bad boy and the mesmerizing wicked girl exploded powerfully. Readers both lamented and hoped they would end up together. The encounter between the two villains began like this. The villainous Grand Duke, the mastermind behind the scenes, plotting and scheming against someone, murdered his bride after a loveless political marriage. While cleaning up the murder scene, he encountered the villainess disguised as a maid and became interested in her, the one who witnessed the whole thing but didn't reveal anything. Later, he discovered the villainess's ability to use black magic, and the two began committing countless evil deeds. Enrica thought to herself, okay, reading this as a reader is really interesting, but the problem is, the person I've transmigrated into is the bride murdered on her wedding night, Enrica Winterso. Not only that, I discovered a truth about Enrica after transmigrating into this body. She was a mage exploited by her family her entire life. When her body weakened and lost its magic, she was sold off to marry the Grand Duke like merchandise. Now, in this frail body, the magic was almost completely gone. She wondered just how much was she exploited. Suddenly, someone called out, Enrica. Enrica. It was Baron Winterso. He flung the door open and yelled, Enrica, is it true that your magic is almost gone? Are the rumors true? Enrica, her expression remained unchanged as she calmly thought, here it comes. Then she brought a handkerchief up to dab at her eyes. Yes, it's true. I apologize, father. Now, my body has probably reached its limit. He angrily pointed at Enrica. You useless thing, you're a disgrace to the family. Even the beasts in the duchy are more useful than you. This man was Enrica's father, Duke Winterso. He was a scoundrel who treated his daughter like the family's magical tool. Enrica bowed her head and said, I truly apologize, father. I will find a way to regain my magic, no matter the cost. Please give me a little more time. Baron Winterso, hearing her words, ground his teeth in disgust. TSK. Something useless like you daring to represent the Winterso dukedom at the banquet? You're a disgrace to the family. Her eyes brightened, pleased with herself. Yes, that's it, the disgrace of the family. So don't make me attend the banquet. Then he turned his back and said, this is your first time out since receiving the Grand Duke's proposal. Behave yourself and get ready quickly. Baron Winterso slammed the door shut, indifferent to her feelings. Enrica leaned back against the sofa, her head throbbing, and oh, I really don't want to go. She reminisced dreamily that it's been a month since I transmigrated into Enrica's body. Since I've lost almost all of my magic, I can't do much. At most, I can attend a few banquets and listen to my father's harsh scoldings. And then, a maid's voice called out, "Miss, may I come in?" Enrica quickly stood up. Yes. The maid entered softly. Sarah, with a serious expression, walked in while Enrica was still thinking. "You were indifferent to my death, villainous." She was sweating but forced a bright smile. "Sarah, I was waiting for you." At the same time, she thought to herself, the thing I've focused on most since transmigrating into this body is getting on the villainess's good side. Then she cheerfully approached Sarah, acting affectionately. "Sarah, I missed you so much." Enrica's inner voice echoed, "If I make even the slightest mistake and displease the villainess, I might die before I even marry the Grand Duke." Sarah finally reacted and said, "Mississippi." Enrica responded with a questioning him. Sarah continued, "Please sit down, Mississippi. There isn't much time left before the banquet." Enrica hurriedly followed Sarah's instructions. She felt a flicker of panic. It really is terrifying. Sarah carefully trimmed her mistress's hair. Enrica stealthily glanced at her. Her vibrant red hair and sharp eyes, along with her dazzling appearance, would make anyone gasp that that's the villainess. She thought sadly. Compared to her, I really do look easy to bully. Enrica spoke up. "Sarah, have you heard? Grand Duke Cronhart proposed to me. What do you think?" Sarah's expression turned serious. Her voice hardening. "Of course, I don't agree." This reaction startled Enrica. She asked, trembling, "Why? Is there a reason?" Inwardly, she was suspicious. Could black magic also have the ability to predict the future? Or is she upset because I'm about to marry the Grand Duke, her future man? But Sarah's answer was beyond Enrica's expectations. "It's because I won't have enough time to be by Mrs. side anymore." Sarah's cheeks flushed, and she quickly turned her face away. "Oh no, Miss is still too young. It would be better if Miss could explore the world with me a little longer." Enrica teared up at these gentle words. She turned and hugged Sarah, calling, "Sarah." Then she proudly thought, my efforts to catch Sarah's eye after transmigrating weren't in vain. First, offering snacks. Enrica offered, "Sarah, try this." However, Sarah refused that I don't eat sweets. Second, not making her do heavy work. Enrica kindly said, "I'll clean my own room so Sarah can rest." But Sarah didn't seem very happy that if the room is messy, the butler will scold me. Miss is very clumsy at cleaning. Third, keeping her secrets. Enrica said confidently, don't worry, I'm very good at keeping secrets." Sarah sighed, I understand. So please go outside." The young miss continued to act spoiled, I always thought. Sarah said indifferently, "It turns out Sarah really likes being cared for." Sarah said shyly, "That's not it." Enrica was bewildered. Sarah told her, "Have I said this before?" Miss looks more and more like Lily. The young miss continued to question Lily. Sarah pinched her mistress's cheek as she explained, "That's the dog I had when I was little. It had soft, fluffy fur, so it was very cute." Enrica felt a little confused. Should I be happy about this? Soon, Sarah announced, "I'm finished, Mississippi." Looking at her beautiful reflection, Enrica exclaimed with satisfaction, "So beautiful. I love it." Sarah advised her mistress, "Since it's already like this, Miss should just enjoy it. Who knows, this might be the last party before the wedding." Hearing this, Enrica froze. This wasn't the time to feel relieved just because she'd won Sarah over. Last party before the wedding. Enrica stepped out of the carriage. It's true. Just like she said, this might be the last party while I'm still alive. She entered the hall. The nobles began to chatter excitedly. I asked that the young lady who received a proposal from Grand Duke Cronhart. Why her? Her face is pretty enough, but there's nothing particularly special about her. Enrica thought irritably, I can hear you, you know. Two noble women approached to greet her. Oh my, Miss Winterso, you arrived just in time. Enrica replied politely, "Thank you for inviting me, Countess." The Countess continued, "We were just talking about your upcoming marriage." Miss Winterso, oh my, is it true that the fearsome Grand Duke is in love? Are those rumors true? Enrica asked, bewildered. What rumors? The Countess asked mockingly. My dear, why are you so embarrassed? Everyone knows. Enrica was dumbfounded. What is everyone talking about? The Countess explained, "We heard the Grand Duke couldn't wait and skip the engagement ceremony to propose immediately. Is that right? Enrica gave a strained laugh. Koku's inner voice. Of course, because he has to kill me as soon as possible. The Countess continued, he doesn't like you being seen with other men, so all your dates have been kept secret. Enrica thought to herself, Asterisk dates? I haven't even met him once. Asterisk. The two noble women, curious, added, oh, and we also heard he's been sending countless rare gifts to the Duke's estate day and night. Is that true? Enrica gave a small laugh, haha. Then a thought struck her. Asterisk, could those suspicious carriages coming and going these past few days have been because of that? Were those gifts from the Grand Duke? Asterisk. To make it seem like I've fallen for him, Grand Duke Grandheart, a terrifyingly meticulous man? Why me? Ah, if I think about it, there's no one more suitable than me to be a scapegoat for his political rival's murder. If it's Duke Winterso, who wouldn't hesitate to sell his daughter for a large sum of money, he'd probably assume that even if I die, he wouldn't investigate. Furthermore, with the rumors of the Grand Duke being deeply in love with me spreading throughout high society, his perfect alibi is complete. Enrica sighed inwardly. Asterisk, truly a man of dark schemes. Can I even survive against someone like him? Asterisk, seeing Enrica's tired and melancholic expression, the two noble women asked worriedly, Miss Winterso, your complexion isn't very good. Are you all right? Enrica thought, I need to get out of here first. Then she replied, I apologize, Countess. The long carriage ride has made me a bit dizzy. The Countess exclaimed and urged her, oh dear, I've kept you here too long when you're feeling unwell. You should go rest. The other noble woman whispered something into the Countess's ear. Then the Countess turned back to Enrica and said, Miss Winterso, I have good news. However, Enrica was no longer there oh my, she's gone. I was just about to tell her that His Highness, the Grand Duke, is also present at this party. Enrica's shoes shimmered under the moonlight. As she slowly walked away, Enrica felt despair. Asterisk, it's over. If the rumors have spread this far in high society, breaking off the engagement is truly impossible. Asterisk. Asterisk, what should I do now? My head hurts. I'll go get some fresh air to clear my head. Asterisk. Suddenly, she saw someone's back. Enrica froze for a moment. The man turned around and looked at her. Slightly startled, Enrica said, I apologize. I didn't realize anyone was here. The handsome man set down his glass and replied, no, it's all right. Enrica's eyes widened. Wow, what a beautiful voice. The man slowly walked towards her. The scene was romantic. Enrica stared, entranced. In that moment, if Winter were a person, it would surely have a face like that. That's what I thought, Enrica mused, looking at the man's handsome features. This man. The handsome man gave a gentle smile. A soft breeze blew. Enrica's heart pounded. Seeing such an unusually handsome man, she thought, he can't be a minor character. A flood of thoughts rushed in. Duke Winterso and Sarah were instantly recognizable after she'd possessed this body. But this man's face had never appeared in Enrica's memories. Not even in the novel's illustrations have I seen a face like this. Politely, she asked, excuse me, but who are you? Raphael responded with a question of his own. You don't know me? Enrica's face went blank. Asterisk what? What's with that, of course you should know me reaction? Even with looks like that, isn't that a bit much? Asterisk after a few seconds of silence. Raphael spoke in a low, warm voice. I am Earl Barington. Enrica quickly curtsied I am Enrica of the Winterso dukedom. Raphael pictured her as a puppy wagging its tail. Asterisk Earl Barington. I'm hearing that name for the first time. Asterisk. An unimportant character? She wondered. While she pondered, Raphael continued to see her through a puppy filter. She asked, are you waiting for someone? There are 2 glasses. Raphael replied, no, not particularly, but perhaps I was waiting for you without realizing it. He continued his sweet flirtation. Would you care to join me for a drink? Enrica chuckled. Unlike his appearance, he's quite the sly one. Asterisk, all right, let's put aside my worries. A handsome, friendly man and a lively party like this, it wouldn't hurt to enjoy myself. Asterisk, having decided, she agreed. All right. Asterisk, the dazzlingly handsome Earl Raphael is looking at you. Are you captivated yet? Asterisk. Enrica set down her glass with a sigh that I really don't want to get married. Raphael could only respond with, oh dear. Enrica continued to lament, recalling how she'd just downed a glass of wine at Raphael's call of my lady. I drank too much, swept up in the atmosphere. She went on, even if I'm given jewelry or gifts, it's just a burden. I'll do anything as long as I don't have to get married. Enrica's melancholy shimmered under the moonlight, stirring something in Raphael. He asked, why do you dislike the person you're supposed to marry so much? Has he been disrespectful to you? Or are there bad rumors about him? Enrica hesitated, thinking fearfully, asterisk, I can't say it. I can't say that the Grand Duke will kill me in the future. I'll be seen as a lunatic, asterisk. Her hands clenched and trembled. Regardless, I really want to avoid this marriage. This is a really important secret. If there's no way to avoid this marriage, I'll have no choice but to flee the Empire. Raphael's glass slipped from his hand, shattering on the ground. Silence fell. Enrica asked, Earl Barington, are you all right? Raphael ventured a guess. Could it be you're in love with someone else? A little flustered, Enrica replied, no, not really. Raphael continued to wonder. Then, it's not the person you're marrying, but the act of marriage itself? Are you against marriage in principle? Enrica told him, no, marriage is fine, just not with him. Raphael chuckled softly. Ha ha, that's difficult. Miss Wintersow's words, as well as this situation, are completely unexpected. But there's a way. Enrica, Raphael suggested. Not that fiancé, why? Couldn't you marry another man? Enrica's eyes widened in surprise. She calculated in her head. Marry another man? That's right. I haven't replied to the Grand Duke's proposal yet. If I marry another man before then, Enrica exclaimed excitedly. That's a really good idea, but she quickly deflated. Could I find someone to marry right away? Raphael immediately reassured her. What's there to worry about? Miss Wintersow is a very noble and beautiful woman. As soon as you reach out your hand, countless men will want to take it. His gaze sharpened, if they dare. Enrica asked innocently, what did you just say? Raphael feigned innocence. Nothing at all. Enrica pondered silently. A pretend marriage? Not a good idea, but even if she wanted to marry to avoid the Grand Duke, there was no one. Because Enrica didn't have anyone she could call an acquaintance, let alone a friend. Her father didn't want it revealed that she was a mage. It was undoubtedly his influence. She steadied herself don't give up, Enrica. This is a matter of my survival. But what should I do? Enrica pondered for a moment. As if struck by an idea, she turned abruptly to look at Raphael. Enrica's expression was resolute. Under the moonlight, Enrica pleaded, Earl Barington, please. Raphael looked at her intently. Enrica suddenly grasped his hand. Under the gentle moonlight that cast an ethereal glow over everything, Enrica clasped Raphael's hands, her eyes sparkling with hope. Please marry me. Raphael remained silent, making her anxious. Are you angry? What should I do? I blurted it out in my haste. Oh well, I've come this far, so I might as well go for it. Thinking this, she tightened her grip on his hand, her voice earnest. Please help me, just for a year. After a year, I'll definitely divorce you. As for payment, I don't have anything now, but I'll do anything to repay you then. But Raphael gently withdrew his hand from Enrica's, leaving her stunned and disheartened that he rejected me, didn't he? The next moment, that large hand slowly reached out, intertwining with hers. Raphael smiled softly, his eyes gentle, as if to envelop her. His warm voice rang out, all right, I was waiting to hear that. Enrica stared blankly at their clasped hands, her heart pounding erratically. Then she stealthily glanced up to observe Raphael's expression, her voice hesitant. Waiting? You mean about the payment? Or the divorce? His hand gently caressed her small fingers. No, before that. The proposal. Enrica's eyes widened in surprise. Sparkling with astonishment, he agreed so easily. Oh my, I'm so grateful, but really? That's simple. Wait, could I be dreaming? Thinking that, she suddenly raised her hand and slapped her cheek hard. Raphael frowned slightly, his tone laced with concern. He reached out and caught her hand, stopping her. Don't do that, Enrica. I don't want you to hurt yourself. The possessiveness in his voice and the gentle grip of his hand stunned Enrica, her breath catching in her throat. She shyly avoided his gaze, taking a step back, her voice slightly hesitant. About that. I'm very grateful that you agreed. But there's one more problem. What if my father doesn't allow us to marry? He's already received a large sum from the Grand Duke. Raphael chuckled, his tone reassuring yet firm. That I can handle that. You don't need to worry about anything. Just prepare to be a bride. Enrica's eyes widened as she looked at him, her expression a mixture of shyness and confusion. She quickly spoke up. It's not that simple. She bit her lip, her voice filled with worry. The news of my engagement has already spread throughout high society. Raphael adjusted his attire, his gaze thoughtful. That is indeed a significant problem. But then, he suddenly stepped closer, a suggestive curve playing on his lips. Oh, why don't we run off to the chapel right now and exchange our vows? She was so flustered by his words that she didn't know how to react. Her eyes widened, and she stammered, See, can we do that? Raphael chuckled, his eyes full of confidence. Of course. Trust me, Henry. They both burst into laughter, the tension dissipating in an instant. Her heart felt reassured. He's probably joking, but hearing those words makes me feel at ease. Raphael gently extended his hand, his gaze gentle yet firm, softly calling her name. Henry. He smiled, his warm voice echoing that let's go out. This is how we'll show the nobles at this party that you already have another man. She blinked, then a smile unconsciously bloomed on her face, the worry in her heart lessening somewhat. Without hesitation, she placed her hand in his, and together they walked into the party. All eyes immediately turned to them, whispers echoing around the room. But Raphael simply smiled confidently, while Henry clung to his arm, walking with an air of pride. Even though they might have expected it, everyone must be surprised. Me, the one who was proposed to by the Grand Duke, walking out with another man. As if sensing her anxiety, Raphael tilted his head, his voice sounding beside her. Don't worry, Henry. I'm here, aren't I? Henry looked up at him, a glimmer of trust in her eyes. Yes, thank you. My lord. But actually, I forgot to ask something important. What is your name? Raphael fell silent for a moment, an unreadable expression in his eyes. Suddenly, he pulled her into a hug, surprising Henry, and leaving the surrounding onlookers gaping. The intimate gesture was a shock amidst the extravagant party, causing more than a few nobles to pale. His hand gently stroked her hair. As he leaned close to her ear, the entire room seemed to fall silent. His low, mesmerizing voice softly whispered, "Call me Kale." The party ended, and the moon above cast a gentle light, draping everything in a magical hue. Raphael spoke, his voice warm and laced with concern. "Are you all right to go back alone?" She was still basking in the afterglow of what had just happened, a smile unconsciously playing on her lips that, of course, my family's carriage has arrived. But her heart was in turmoil that if we stay together any longer, my heart won't be able to take it. Then, as if remembering something important, she furrowed her brow, her gaze serious as she looked at him. More importantly, you must keep your promise to visit me. Raphael chuckled softly, of course. We put on such a show in front of everyone. He tilted his head slightly, his gaze deep, as if trying to see through her thoughts. So, I'm Henry's lover now, am I? Henry C.A. froze, her heart skipping a beat. She blinked at him, thinking, this man is truly a cunning fox. She stepped into the carriage, smiling faintly. Well then, I'll be going now, Earl. But just as the carriage door was about to close, his voice suddenly called out, Henry. She paused, turning back to look at him. Raphael stood there. His voice L-O-W-I-T was fortunate to meet you today. Silence fell. Henry C.A. seemed shocked by his words. She froze for a moment, then burst out laughing. Likewise, Kale. As the carriage disappeared into the distance, the night returned to its usual stillness. The Cronhart family's aide, Manhwa, stepped forward, his voice laced with urgency. S.O. you were here. I've been looking for you, Your Grace. Raphael glanced at the newcomer, Manhwa, his sharp gaze carrying a warning. From now on, I'm not the Grand Duke, but Earl Kale Barington. Be mindful of how you address me. Manhwa flinched, clearly struggling to process this information. What? He stammered. Creating an identity in the capital to clarify things is preferable. However, he still seemed confused. But, Your Grace, why suddenly? Not letting him finish, Raphael cut him off, his tone calm, yet laced with an undeniable tension. And one more thing. Enrica Winterso, she doesn't know me. Why is that? Manhwa, stunned, repeated, she doesn't know you. Raphael nodded, his gaze deep in thought. That's right. She asked for my name because she didn't recognize me. Manhwa hesitated for a moment, then quickly explained that, about that, it's not surprising she doesn't know you. Since Your Grace used the excuse of training knights to exterminate monsters, you hardly attend any social gatherings. He glanced at Raphael before continuing. Naturally, aside from high-ranking nobles, others wouldn't know your face. Moreover, you dislike having even a single casual portrait made. Manhwa cleared his throat and continued that I hear that Baron Winterso keeps a tight rein on his daughter. Information surrounding her must be scarce. Raphael tilted his head slightly, the moonlight illuminating his face, making his features appear even sharper. He pondered for a moment, then gave a decisive order. This shouldn't be difficult, should it? Manhwa, silence all the guests who were present at the party tonight. From now on, I am Earl Kale Barington. Manhwa's eyes widened in astonishment. Your Grace, can you explain to me what is going on? Raphael slowly turned to look at him, the corner of his lips twitching upwards, but his eyes held no mirth. Yes, you know, I truly need her. He paused, his voice softening to, I must keep her by my side, even if it means carrying out a grand deception. The silent mansion was shrouded in darkness. She opened the door and softly announced, I'm home. She looked around the cold, empty mansion. The eldest daughter has returned, and yet not a single servant came to greet me. Well, I'm used to this cold treatment. Actually, it's fine. After I go to my room, I need to remove my makeup and lie down on my bed. Farewell. As she was about to cheerfully head to her room, a voice suddenly called out, "Miss Enrica, the master is waiting for you in the study." She froze. "Father?" In the study, the Baron silently looked at her, his gaze cold, as if appraising an object. He spoke, with a bit of makeup, "You're somewhat presentable." Enrica remained silent, her head bowed, turmoil brewing within her. Asterisk what? This judgmental tone. Are these words he should be saying to his own daughter? Asterisk, he continued. "Ah, I heard his grace, the Grand Duke, attended tonight's banquet. You greeted him, I presume." Hearing this, she froze, panicked. "Wait, the Grand Duke was at the banquet? Then, doesn't that mean he witnessed everything?" A shiver ran down her spine. Asterisk, I'm doomed. I'll probably be killed by the Grand Duke before I even marry Kale. What do I do? What should I do? Asterisk. The Baron observed her expression, his brow furrowing in displeasure. Why that look on your face? Could it be you didn't meet his grace, the Grand Duke? Enrica quickly made an excuse. "Oh no, I met him. I greeted him as well." She thought to herself, "I'll avoid it for now." The Baron nodded. "Good. Before the wedding ceremony, be mindful not to gain weight. I'll arrange a tutor for you, so learn the proper etiquette of a bride." She replied, "Yes, father." The Baron smirked contemptuously. He said, "Now you must repay me for raising you. The things you do for this family are also for your own benefit. Don't forget that, Enrica." She looked at the Baron. For the first time, his gaze wasn't cold when he looked at her. Enrica resolved herself. Asterisk, all right. I am his daughter after all. I just need to persuade him. Asterisk. Clutching her dress as if to gather strength, she spoke. "Father, what if I said I didn't want to marry the Grand Duke?" The air in the room instantly turned frigid. The Baron's eyes darkened immediately, his voice icy. "Enrica." Before she could react, a sharp slap landed on her face, the force so strong it sent her tumbling to the floor. His furious voice boomed, "Just a little praise, and it seems you've finally gone mad." The Baron continued to threaten, if you ever utter such nonsense again, it won't just be a slap." She silently returned to her room, each step heavy. Her trembling hand touched her stinging cheek, her eyes filled with sadness. She questioned herself. What was I expecting? In Sarah's room, as she prepared for bed, the door creaked open. Sarah softly called, "Miss Enrica, why are you back so late?" She stopped abruptly when she saw her mistress's lovely, puppy-like face swollen and red. Enrica whimpered, "Sarah." Sarah rushed to her side. "Miss." A moment later, Sarah tended to Enrica's injuries as they talked. "Miss, do you remember the story I told you about the dog I used to have?" Enrica nodded. "Ah, yes, Lily, right?" Sarah recounted. "When Lily was little, she went for a walk alone and came back covered in wounds. The neighborhood kids said I wouldn't play with them, so they took their anger out on my innocent dog. After that, I dealt with them so thoroughly that not a single bone could be found." Enrica, listening to her story, shuddered involuntarily. Who would dare hurt the dog of such a villainess? Sarah looked intently at her and continued, "When I look at Miss, I remember Lily's pitiful state back then." Enrica, touched, said Sarah. Inwardly, she thought, although we're both villains, Sarah is different from my father. I can feel that she's genuinely worried about me. She's reminded me of so many things. While she was lost in thought, Sarah said, "Miss, from now on, please close your door when you sleep at night." Enrica asked, puzzled, "It's hot, so I left it open. Is something wrong?" Sarah replied, "A thief broke in." Hearing this, Enrica asked in surprise, "What? I haven't heard anything about that." Sarah calmly replied, "Of course not, because I killed him the moment I saw him." Enrica gasped loudly, seeing Sarah so calmly utter such chilling words. Enrica couldn't help but feel bewildered, yet a strange sense of security rose within her. "Sarah, I have some good news, anyway. I've decided to get married." Sarah replied indifferently, "I know that. Grand Duke Crone Hats." And she immediately shook her head. "It's not his grace. It's with the man I met at the party today." Sarah shot up, stunned, and exclaimed, What are you talking about, miss?" Enrica put on a puppy dog face and softly pleaded, "Don't be angry. Just listen to me, Sarah. I really don't want to marry the Grand Duke." Sarah immediately yelled, "And yet you're marrying a man you only met today? Who is he? Where does he live? What's his occupation, age, appearance? What do his parents do? How many siblings does he have?" Hearing her barrage of questions, Enrica stammered. "His name is Kale Brinton. He's an Earl, and he's tall. His face is the most handsome I've ever seen." Sarah sighed, dejectedly saying, "You don't understand anything. Mississippi tall men are difficult, and handsome men are all liars." Enrica burst out laughing, then said, "Sarah, I know you don't believe me. If I see him again, I'll introduce you first. If you object, I'll reconsider." Seeing Sarah's silence, she thought to herself, she's not angry anymore, right? Sarah approached and gently embraced her. Then she solemnly said, "Miss, It's not that I don't trust you, it's just I'm worried you'll be hurt by bad people. Hearing these sincere words of concern, Enrica's heart overflowed with joy. Sarah, at first I was scared of her because of her villainous image, but now I don't know why. At this moment, Sarah suddenly called out, "Miss." Enrica's thoughts continued. I feel like she's like a dependable older sister. She nestled against Sarah. Sarah shyly reminded her, "Don't sleep here. Go sleep in your bed." Enrica playfully teased, "Are you embarrassed?" Sarah immediately replied, "Because you're heavy. Go back to bed quickly." The next day, the winter so Dutchy. Enrica sat in front of the mirror, rubbing her face and sobbing. Nearby, Sarah prepared tea and said, "The wound could get worse if covered with makeup, so let's leave it as is today, Mississippi. And don't worry, I'll take revenge 100-fold on the person who hurt Mrs. Face." Enrica looked at the knife in Sarah's hand, a chill running down her spine. "Thank you for your words, Sarah. It doesn't sound like a joke." Just then, a voice called from outside the room. "Miss Enrica, may I come in?" As soon as the voice trailed off, a maid entered and respectfully said, "Miss Matha invites you to a tea party in the garden." This person is Matha's closest maid. Matha Winterso, my younger sister, the beloved of everyone in the mansion. Unlike me, who is difficult to approach, she not only acts spoiled with father, but is also very friendly with the servants and loved by everyone. However, I have some doubts. Looking at Matha's cold expression, she wondered, I don't understand why she only shows hostility towards me, her older sister. She used to secretly torment me without anyone knowing. Especially, she often spread strange rumors about me to the servants, and soon, my image became that of a wicked older sister jealous of her younger sister. Therefore, the way everyone treats me at the Duke's mansion. Thinking about this, Enrica recalled when she was taking a walk. If Matha was present, the servants would say, "Miss Matha is taking a walk, so please take a different route." Or another servant would enter her room holding a dress and say, "This dress will be given to Miss Matha. Perhaps this dress also wants a more distinguished owner." Or when Enrica complained about her food to the head chef, he said, "The food is spoiled." Impossible. Miss Matha didn't complain at all. So Enrica could only silently eat the spoiled food. I had to live under blatant discrimination. Back in the present, she frowned in thought. Matha suddenly inviting her to a tea party. It was clearly suspicious. While she was pondering, Sarah suddenly stepped forward and said, "Our miss isn't feeling well today. Please convey that she cannot attend the tea party." Matha's maid sneered. Refusing Miss Matha's kindness with such an excuse is impolite. Sarah's response was a look like death himself stepping out of hell. The maid immediately shut her mouth. Seeing this, Enrica's eyes lit up. Wow, so cool, so reliable, the only one on my side in this house. Then she said, "Thank you, Sarah." Hearing the thanks, Sarah blushed, slightly embarrassed, and said, "With that face, if the wind blows on it, the wound will get worse. So of course." Suddenly, Enrica said, "But it seems like I should attend the tea party." Hearing this, Sarah was dumbfounded and asked, "You want to do that?" Enrica nodded. "Yes, let's get ready to go out. I don't know what reason Matha will find to report to father this time, so I should probably attend once and get it over with." Very quickly, the two arrived at the gazebo in the garden. Matha was drinking tea. Hearing footsteps approaching, she immediately turned her head and said, "What is this, sister? It's going to be like this anyway. Why bother putting on an act?" Before she finished speaking, a look of astonishment appeared on her face. On the other side, Enrica gently stroked the scratch on her. "Mother." Then she whispered, "Matha, in your heart, it's different, isn't it? Do you feel any satisfaction seeing your hated sister being beaten?" Matha didn't react until Enrica sat down at the table. She feigned compassion, saying, "Oh my, even if it was father, this is too much." Hearing this, both Enrica and Sarah were quite surprised. What's with this reaction? Suddenly, Matha turned to Sarah and yelled, "Hey you, did you treat her properly? Why is she in this state?" Enrica startled, wondering, wait, where did that hostility come from? Sarah calmly replied, "I applied ointment yesterday, so it should be fine, Mississippi." Matha asked again, "Are you sure it'll be all right? What if it leaves a scar on her face?" Hearing this, Sarah glanced coldly towards the castle. Then, with a sickly sweet expression, she spat out a chilling sentence. "If so, we just need to do the same to the Duke's face." Enrica looked at her with admiration, her inner thoughts a mystery. Aloud, she said, "G.A., Sarah, could you bring me some scones from the kitchen? I think they would go well with the tea." Then, she whispered, "Don't worry, I can handle this myself." Sarah replied with a hint of reluctance, "Yes, Mississippi." After she left, Enrica breathed a sigh of relief. Phew, finally some peace and quiet. As she lifted her teacup to drink, Matha suddenly asked, "Oh, sister, how was the banquet? Don't tell me you just showed up and left again. You always do that." Enrica just let out a small huh, and Matha continued, "Oh dear, are you feeling unwell? I'm just saying this because I'm worried about you, sister." Looking at that fake face, Enrica thought, Matha's back to her true self, isn't she? Just as she finished that thought, Matha asked again, "Oh, I heard you met His Grace the Grand Duke yesterday? Father told me. He seems quite impressive, doesn't he?" Enrica replied, I'm not sure," inwardly adding, "because I haven't met him." Hearing this, Matha ran a hand through her hair and said, "But what good is a handsome face? I heard he massacred his entire family just to claim the title of Grand Duke." Enrica smiled. Asterisk, it seems she wants to scare me, but I'm not surprised at all. He'll even kill his bride later. Asterisk, finishing her thought, she replied, "Oh, is that so?" Matha suddenly slammed her hand on the table. Moreover, I heard he's very violent. He's also addicted to alcohol and beats women." Enrica simply replied in a low voice, "I'm fine, Matha." Matha bit her lip. Then, pushing herself up from the table, she stood and demanded, "Fine? What do you mean fine? Your married life is going to be terrible." Seeing her reaction, Enrica broke out in a sweat, a little bewildered. Asterisk, what's this? Why is she suddenly so angry? Asterisk, she looked up silently at Matha. Matha continued, "You'll have to share a bed with a murderer and be beaten every day. Aren't you afraid?" Waiting a few seconds without a response, Matha pressed on, "Why aren't you answering me?" completely unaware of someone who had just arrived behind her. Enrica's eyes widened in surprise, while Matha angrily said, "Are you ignoring me?" After asking, she furrowed her brows, looking as if she was about to cry. Behind her, Raphael smiled at Enrica in greeting. In an instant, Enrica's face flushed, her eyes sparkling. Inwardly, she whispered, "Gale." Matha asked Enrica curiously, What is it? Why are you making that face?" It was as if she had seen a ghost. So, when she turned her head and saw Raphael, Matha flinched. Then, a scream that shook the whole garden rang out. "Look," Matha said. You're... Enrica, seeing this, whispered thoughtfully, "Why so surprised? Do they know each other?" While Matha was still bewildered, Raphael had already passed her by. He walked towards Enrica and said, "Enri, I missed you." Enrica blushed shyly and whispered to him, "Gale, why are you here?" Raphael teased, "Didn't I promise to visit you soon?" She retorted in embarrassment, "Even so, this is too soon. How on earth did you get into the Duke's mansion?" Raphael calmly replied, "I just introduced myself and came in." The gatekeeper was quite friendly. Enrica looked at him, beaming, and asked in bewilderment, what is going on with this man?" Suddenly, he extended his hand towards her and said, "More importantly, Enri, the weather seems perfect for a stroll. Would you like to take a walk in the garden?" Enrica reluctantly agreed. "All right." After walking a few steps with him, she looked back at Matha and thought, "If I stay here, I might catch my father's eye. It should be fine if I just leave her like this. Right?" Then the two left Matha behind. Her face paled with worry. What should I do? I really didn't intend to do this time. I was just jealous, so..." After a while, the two reached a different spot, and Enrica finally spoke. "But Gale, how do you know Matha?" She was very surprised. Raphael didn't hesitate to answer her. "I met your sister at a banquet a few years ago. It's understandable to be startled when someone you didn't expect overhears you bad-mouthing them." Hearing this, she put her hand to her chin and looked thoughtful, leaving him puzzled. Compared to that, her reaction seems a bit over the top. Seeing her like this, Raphael asked, "Enri, do you believe the rumors about the Grand Duke?" Enrica found it difficult to answer him immediately. She pondered, recalling, Grand Duke Kronhart, actually, there isn't much information about him in the original story. His past, his family, everything is shrouded in mystery and never mentioned. Even so, I don't think a notorious villain like him would get drunk and hit women. If it were murder to achieve his own ends, then maybe. From then until now, Raphael had been extremely attentive to her feelings, and he gently took her hand. This startled Enrica, and she turned to him, flustered, and said, "I don't believe in things that haven't been confirmed. That's not the reason I'm avoiding this marriage." Having said that, she turned her face forward, too embarrassed to look at him. Raphael then tightened his grip on her hand. He smiled and exclaimed, "Is that so?" She said sadly, "If Father finds out I'm trying to break off the engagement with the Grand Duke, he'll definitely be furious." He gently turned and asked, "Was the slap also because of that?" Then he slowly raised his hand to her flushed cheek. Her blush. Raphael exclaimed lovingly, I didn't let you leave yesterday just to see you like this. But Enrica thought to herself, it seems like the family matter has been exposed. How embarrassing. She looked away awkwardly and chuckled. Aha, can you believe I just fell and hurt myself? Raphael was silent for a moment. Then he said, if that's what you want me to believe, I will. Hearing him say that, Enrica smiled brightly. In her heart, she felt sorry for him. I'm the one who got hit, but why does he look so pained? Suddenly, Raphael spoke up, but, as expected, leaving things like this won't do. We need to do something. She asked in surprise, yes, do something? What? He looked to the side. The wind rustled, causing the leaves to fly around. A horse was running quickly towards the two of them. Soon, a carriage appeared. Raphael smiled and invited her, get in, Enrica. Enrica was stunned. Huh? What? Where did that suddenly come from? He looked at her tenderly and explained, I saw the bruise. Did you think I would just leave you here? Let's go home, Enri. In her heart, she panicked. Home. Enrica stammered, flustered. Wait a minute. Are you saying we're going to the Count's mansion right now? Raphael calmly replied, is there a reason we shouldn't? We've promised to marry, haven't we? She hesitantly continued, but aren't there still practical matters? I haven't spoken to my father yet. He maintained his composure. As I said before, I will take care of it. If you stay here, you'll continue to clash with your father, so wouldn't it be better at my home? Enrica still wasn't reassured. That makes sense, but I haven't packed yet. Suddenly, a voice called out, don't worry about that, Mississippi. The voice caught her attention, causing her to turn around. She was surprised. Sarah. Sarah placed 2 suitcases on the ground. This is your luggage. I've packed it carefully, so I'm sure nothing is missing. Enrica froze, asking her, Sarah, weren't you going to get pastries? Inwardly, she was in turmoil. What is going on? At this point, Raphael said comfortably, well then, it seems all the problems have been solved. Shall we depart now? Enrica hurriedly called out. Wait a minute. She looked at him warily. This is all a bit sudden, anyway. We only met for the first time yesterday. He just smiled at her. After a moment of contemplation, he replied, what if it wasn't the first time? Enrica was surprised by his question. Do you mean we met before the party yesterday? Raphael extended his hand, inviting her into the carriage. He added persuasively about that, if you stay by my side, you'll gradually understand. Let's go, Enri, just as you need me. I also need you very much. The sunset quietly watched over the scene. Enrica was drifting off to sleep. Raphael, sitting next to her, gently placed her head on his shoulder. Sarah spoke up. What are you thinking after all? Sarah, sitting opposite them, looked at Raphael with a murderous expression. A stranger like me was also brought. Coming along too. Raphael gave a devilish smile. Enrica used her puppy dog eyes to persuade me a while ago. So, can I bring Sarah along? Raphael replied. Since Enrica wants it, you wouldn't want to leave her alone, would you? Sarah frowned. I'm quietly following because I thought anywhere would be better than the Duke's mansion for Miss. Not because I trust you. What was your reason for tricking Miss in a marriage like that? Grand Duke Kronhard. Hearing this, Raphael scoffed. Funny, are we both hiding secrets? A dark mage wanted throughout the Empire can say that. Sarah stood up, agitated, that's why. Raphael shushed her. Shoo, your miss is waking up now. Sarah couldn't hide her panic. Raphael added, I know what you're worried about, but rest assured, I won't harm a single hair on Enrica's head, because she's the only one who can save me. Arriving at their destination, Raphael led Enrica and Sarah into a lavish, magnificent mansion. The walls and ceilings were intricately carved. Raphael bowed slightly. Welcome to my mansion, Enri. Enrica was overwhelmed. She wondered just how rich is he? Are Count's mansions usually this extravagant? There are even peacocks roaming around. A servant approached and whispered, Your Highness, I have an urgent report regarding the recent monster extermination. Enrica was still captivated by the mansion's exquisite details. Oh, such beautiful wings. Raphael excused himself. Please excuse me for a moment, Enri. Enrica replied, Yes, don't mind me. Sarah approached her mistress, Mississippi. Enrica was incredibly curious. How did you know Kale would come to pick me up? You appeared at just the right moment with my luggage already packed, even though I know you always look after me discreetly. Sarah was flustered, unsure how to respond. A few hours earlier, at the Winterso ducal mansion, Malua was reporting, Your Highness. According to the maids, Miss Enrica is not currently in her room. I hear she's having tea with her sister in the garden. Raphael impatiently said to the garden then. Malua was bewildered. Wait a moment, Your Highness, are you really planning to take Miss Enrica away today? Raphael turned back and asked, Is there any reason I shouldn't? I have Duke Winterso's permission. A servant anxiously cried out, Grand Duke, please go slowly. Sarah stood still, lost in thought. Back in the present, Sarah asked, Miss, could you grant me this wish? Enrica was curious. What wish? Sarah seemed hesitant. Please don't be angry with me, Mississippi. Enrica was perplexed. Huh? Why would I be angry with you? Sarah explained, there are things that could make you angry, like if I lied or hid a very important truth from you. Seeing Sarah's sorrowful expression, she thought to herself, what is it? Is she afraid of her identity as a dark mage being revealed? She kindly asked Sarah, what is it? Raphael returned, interrupting their conversation. Apologies for keeping you waiting. Enrica asked, Kayla, you finished talking? Raphael continued, indeed. Let's have dinner. You must be hungry after such a long journey. Enrica replied, yes. She glanced back at Sarah and thought, I'll ask her again later. Thinking about the puppy crying and saying, why did Sarah lie to me? Sarah held her head and sighed. The stars twinkled in the night sky. In a romantic atmosphere, the two enjoyed their meal. Raphael gently asked, is the food to your liking? Enrica happily replied, yes, everything is delicious. But Kale, may I ask you something? Why did you really accept my proposal? It's strange that you immediately agreed to a fake marriage. Moreover, you said you really needed me. What did you mean by that? Raphael suddenly stood up, causing Enrica to call out in surprise. Kale. He approached Enrica with a warm smile. While gently holding her slender hand, he said, please excuse me for a moment, Enri. Raphael placed Enrica's hand on his chest, causing her to stammer, Kale, if you do this, I'll be very flustered. Suddenly, Enrica froze, realizing something was wrong. She exclaimed in alarm, what? Something strange. Why isn't there? Raphael answered her question, perhaps you can't feel it, but I don't have a heart. Because I'm cursed. Enrica asked fearfully, cursed? Cursed. Raphael silently nodded. He continued, a body without a heart is no different from a soulless corpse. But I'm currently using magic to control my body. Enri, do you remember me saying I've met you before? Enrica vaguely recalled, the first party I attended after I was transported here. Raphael recounted, it was the Maletta family ball. I saw you from afar that day, and at that moment, I felt something strange I'd never felt before. I clearly didn't have a heart, but I felt it beating strongly. At that moment, I was certain that you were the only one who could help me discover the nature of this curse. Enrica was stunned. Her face clouded with sadness. She anxiously asked, what if the curse can't be broken? Raphael gently stroked Enrica's hair. He gave his answer. 1 year. If the curse can't be broken within that time, I will die. Moonlight shone through Enrica's hair. She couldn't sleep, her mind still preoccupied with what had just happened. A while ago, Raphael had confessed 1 year. Maintaining this body with magic is nearing its limit. If the curse can't be broken within that time, I will die. Enrica sat up abruptly, unwilling to accept it, and cried out no. She imagined the worst-case scenario. How can I find someone to marry? If Kale dies, father will definitely send me back to the Duke. And even if that weren't the reason, remembering when Raphael's hand reached out, caressing her face affectionately, Enrica made up her mind. I can't just let Kale die. She racked her brain. Is there any way to help him? The curse is definitely magic-related, but I've almost depleted my magic power, so... that's right. She suddenly remembered a detail. In the original story, Enrica was always accompanied by a cat-like familiar named Vermont. At the Duke's mansion, where no one cared about her, Vermont was the only friend Enrica could trust. According to the novel, the condition for a familiar to return to the demon world was when a contract with its owner was canceled or the owner died. Lost in thought, she mused, although I'm weak now, I'm not dead yet, and the contract hasn't been canceled either. That means Vermont might still be somewhere in the Duke's mansion. Since familiars are a type of demon, breaking the curse shouldn't be difficult for it. First, I need a carriage to return to the mansion. Strolling down the hallway, Enrica suddenly noticed someone that person, isn't that Kale's aide? Excitedly, she ran towards Malua and called out, hey! Malua bowed his head in greeting. Miss Enrica, what do you need? Enrica asked Malua for a favor. It's nothing. I just left something important at home. Can I go back and get it? Malua immediately objected. Absolutely not. He cried, the Count is currently on an expedition. If he finds out you disappeared while he was away, I'm dead for sure. Enrica was taken aback. Dead? Kale? He's always so gentle. The aide replied, he's only gentle with you, Mississippi. Enrica pleaded, isn't there any other way? The thing is very important, so I must get it back. Seeing her dejected, pleading expression, Malua wavered slightly. He sighed, if you're that determined, miss, then I'll go with you. Her spirits immediately lifted. Thank you, Malua, she replied. Soon, they arrived at the Duke's mansion. A servant announced, we've arrived, Mississippi. Enrica felt a little uneasy. I can't believe I'm back here after only a day. Malua cautioned from inside the carriage. You absolutely must be back before nightfall. Footsteps approached leisurely. Two maids chattered animatedly. Enrica panicked. I have to hide. Ducking into a corner, she peeked out to observe. She assessed the situation. Du Ming left with Kale, but the atmosphere in the mansion hasn't changed at all. Mata must have snitched. Enrica turned her face away, feeling a little sad. I thought father would be furious, or the Grand Duke would make a scene, but it's so quiet. It's like no one cares what happens to me. The maid suddenly sat down, praising something. So cute. Enrica realized it was a cat. One maid exclaimed, this cat has been showing up a lot lately. So adorable. She reached out to pet it, but was scratched. Ouch. What was that? But its personality, Enrica was filled with suspicion. Could it be Vermont? It was that easy to find. I have to follow it. Enrica called out frantically, hey cat. She wondered, where is it going? The cat turned its head. Enrica said happily, I turned back. It immediately darted into a room. Enrica exclaimed in bewilderment. Wait a minute. She wondered, why would it go into that room? It was the deceased Duchess's room, abandoned for so long that rumors of it being haunted had spread. She furrowed her brow suspiciously. This is my mother's room? The room was illuminated by sunlight. Enrica looked around. Dust, what are these things? They look like magic experiment tools. She held a few books and looked them over. Introduction to Teleportation, Principles of Summoning. You can also make potions. Are all of these magic-related books? She wondered, could the Duchess have been a mage? If so, then it makes sense for a supporting character like Enrica to be set up as a mage too. Did I inherit magic power from my mother? Suddenly, a cat meowed. Enrica hugged the book to her chest and turned around, saying, "Ah, kitty." Seeing the cat pawing at a book, she hurriedly said, "Wait, if you keep messing around like that." Before she could finish her sentence, the book fell smack into her face. Enrica held her face in pain. Looking at the book, she was a little stunned. What is this? This book. Vivian Montimer's diary. Enrica looked suspiciously at the kitten. What is this all about? Suddenly, a line of text appeared in the air. After reading it, Enrica looked towards the cat and exclaimed, "Kitty." The noise had attracted attention, and a voice called out, "What was that?" Enrica felt a pang of fear. Someone's coming. Two maids were approaching. One said, "Don't you know the late Duchess's room is off limits?" The other said with certainty, "I just passed by a moment ago, and I definitely heard a woman's voice muttering." Seeing them enter the doorway, Enrica's eyes widened with suspense. The maids looked inside, and one said, "See, there's no one here." A moment later, Enrica emerged from a bush. Seeing her state, Malua was astonished. "Miss Enrica, are you all right?" Enrica gave a strained smile, her clothes covered in leaves. Luckily, there was a tree by the window. Malua was bewildered. "But did you leave the cat behind?" Enrica replied, "Ah, you won't forbid me from bringing an animal, will you? This kitty is like family to me. I really wanted to bring it along. Is that not allowed?" Malua hurriedly said, "Not at all. The Count will surely accept anything Miss Enrica desires." More importantly, her face was injured. Enrica told him, "It's nothing. Let's go back, Malua." Malua obeyed. "Yes, let's go. You must get that treated when we arrive." In the carriage, Enrica looked at the kitten suspiciously. "I just brought it along like that. How do I confirm if it really is a familiar?" She addressed the kitten. "Kitty, hello there. Try saying something." The more she looked at the cat, the more she marveled. So cute. Enrica's eyes suddenly widened when she heard a reply. "Hey." The cat tilted its head and asked, "What are you looking at, idiot?" Enrica was utterly shocked. The cat looked at her with a rather impudent gaze. She cried out in alarm, "Kitty, you can talk?" The cat complained, "So noisy." "I'm not a kitty. I'm Vermin, you insolent human." Enrica calmly verified the information. "Vermin? Are you Vermin?" Vermin confirmed, "Indeed, I am the great demon who has lived for 400 years. And what is your name, human?" Enrica was dumbfounded. "Wait a minute, you don't know who I am?" Vermin was exasperated. "Where do you get the confidence that I should know you?" Enrica thought in surprise. "What? Vermin doesn't know Enrica? Does this have something to do with me transmigrating to this world?" She said to Vermin, "You used to be in the Duke's family, and I'm the eldest daughter of that family, Enrica Winterso." Vermin nonchalantly scratched its head with its paw. "I don't even remember when I started living in that mansion. The one who summoned me disappeared on their own, so the contract has been void for a long time." Vermin continued, "Perhaps after the contractor disappeared, the magical connection weakened. So now, I can't even clearly remember their face." Enrique thought in a panic. "What in the world is going on? At least I don't have to explain how I got here, but..." Vermin looked Enrica over, suspicion filling its eyes. How strange. It's clearly our first meeting, but it doesn't feel unfamiliar at all. So I want to break the curse. You know how, right, Vermin? Vermin replied that, of course, I don't know. Enrica cried out in alarm. What? Vermin continued, even if I am an excellent familiar, I can't easily break a curse on someone else. The quickest way is to find a one who cast the curse and beg them to lift it. Enrica said helplessly, of course, if that were possible, he wouldn't have asked me. She started to complain. What? A demon who's lived for 400 years like you doesn't even know how to break a curse. Vermin quickly tried to live up to its demonic title. Now that you mention it, although rare, there have been cases of using magical artifacts to break curses. Enrica said excitedly, oh, finally something useful. Vermin recounted, 100 years ago, a man accidentally angered a dark sorcerer and was cursed, causing his body to rot. After inquiring everywhere, he found a way to break the curse, a scale-shaped magical artifact passed down in a noble family, but demanded a price equivalent to the curse. Having nothing to offer, the man was forced to sacrifice his eyes. In the end, he broke the curse, but not long after, despairing over his blindness, he committed suicide. Vermin sincerely advised Enrica, once you get involved with a curse, the ending will be tragic. It's best you don't interfere in this matter and quickly break off your engagement with that guy. Enrica asked, so, which family currently holds the scale? Vermin, while grooming itself, said, that scale is in the place we just left, the Wintersow family. Enrica's face went stiff. What? She thought, are you kidding me? At the magnificent mansion of Duke Gronhardt. Vermin, looking around appreciatively, remarked, magnificent mansion. Is this your fiancé's house? This gloomy atmosphere. It's certainly a suitable place to live. Enrica sighed in frustration. Unbelievable. I finally left that mansion, and the magical artifact that can break the curse is there. Enrica asked Vermin, the magical artifact you mentioned, do you know exactly where it is in the mansion? Vermin replied, I don't know the exact location, but 100 years ago, I caught its scent, and that scent still lingers in the Wintersow mansion, so I guess it's still there. It's an important object, so naturally, it would be hidden in a hard-to-find place. It's been so long since I've had a contract with a master that my magic has weakened considerably. If I want to pinpoint the magical artifact's location, I first need to restore my magic. To do that, I must form a contract with a mage and be in frequent contact with strong magical power. Enrica excitedly suggested, then make a contract with me. It's so simple. Vermin was speechless. Did you even hear what I said? I need to be in contact with strong magic. With your current magical power, you'd struggle to lift a feather. Enrica then remembered, oh, right, I've lost all my magic. Vermin offered, if you could break the magical seal binding your body, things might be different. Magical seal? Enrica questioned. This surprised Vermin. What? You don't know. He explained, you haven't lost your magic. It's being suppressed by some kind of seal. Enrica asked doubtfully, you mean if I break that seal, I can get my magic back? Vermin replied, it's possible. First, try looking at that notebook you're carrying. It emits a scent similar to your magic, so it might hold a clue to regaining it. Enrica sat down and carefully read the notebook. The diary entry read, today, I met Duke Wintersow for the first time. Others shun me and consider me a bad omen because I'm a mage, but the Duke seemed interested and treated me very kindly. Enrica pondered, is this the first time the Duke and Duchess met? Something feels strange. She continued reading, I'm so happy to be marrying Duke Wintersow. Enrica was taken aback. Wait, what? That was fast. It skipped over several days. Did I miss something? Suddenly, she found a note. It read, Vivian Monteimore, daughter of the Marquis family, is a mage and the Duchess. In the diary, she always obeyed the Duke's every request and was thoroughly exploited by him, from using magic to gather information to harming others. Vivian was a kind person, so she was tormented by guilt every night. But because she loved the Duke, she was willing to do anything, unaware of the true tragedy that was approaching. Month XX, date XX. I'm 10 months pregnant with the Duke's child. That day, Vivian saw a woman talking to the Baron. The diary continued. I thought I could finally live happily with my child. An argument broke out. Vivian asked, Duke, what is your relationship with her? The Baron yelled, let go. It's just a loveless marriage anyway. You have the child I wanted, so that's enough, isn't it? Stop clinging to me so pathetically, Vivian. Month XX, date XX. That woman gave birth to a child named Martha. The Duke only cares about the two of them. I don't matter, as long as Enrica isn't hurt. Month XX, date XX. That woman died in a carriage accident. The Duke believes he orchestrated her death. He imprisoned me, forced me to confess to the crime, and beat me for days. Month XX, date XX. My body is too weak. I can feel my death approaching. Enrica tearfully called out, Mother. My poor child. I can't let the Duke use her. I sealed her magic power until she turns 18. With the little magic I have left, this is all I can do. Vivian gently told her daughter, "Come here, Henry. But my child, if one day you realize the true value of magic, use it only for the one you love and the one who loves you. Only one person. My sweet daughter, Enrica." Enrica's eyes welled up with tears. She wondered, I'm not Vivian's biological daughter, but why am I crying? She felt empathy for Vivian, the pain, the loneliness she had to endure, the love for Enrica. She felt it all. Looking up at the moon through the window, Enrica murmured, "Don't worry, Vivian. Since I'm in Enrica's body now, I won't let the Duke do as he pleases." The book revealed a dazzling magic circle. Enrica was startled. The butterfly symbol reflected in her eyes. The circle enveloped Enrica. A new day arrived. Enrica woke up in a daze. She rubbed her eyes, recalling yesterday's events. Enrica couldn't help but wonder, what was that? Did I faint? Vermont spoke up. "You're awake, I see." She softly called Vermont. It curiously asked Enrica, "How did you do it? Did you really get your magic back?" Enrica was surprised. "Magic back? How?" She slowly listened to her body. Come to think of it, the mana she felt inside her body was quite unusual. Did I really get my magic back? Does that mean? Enrica quickly stood up and exclaimed, "Vermont, let's make a contract now. This much magic is enough, right?" However, Vermont told her to calm down. "Not yet. There's something I need to confirm first." It asked her, "Is your goal still to break your fiancé's curse?" Enrica replied, "Yes, why?" Vermont pondered for a moment. It turned its back and walked away, leaving Enrica with the words, "Then I have no intention of making a contract." It clarified its stance. "I don't want to get involved with something unlucky like a curse. That's what I mean. If your goal was something like usurping the throne or world domination, I might reconsider. If you're not going to change your goal, I'll return to the demon world. Are you trying to give me a hard time?" Then she told Vermont, "Fine, suit yourself, but do you have enough magic power to open the gate back to the demon world? You said it yourself. To recover your magic power, you need to constantly be in contact with the strong magic power of the contractor. Wasn't that the reason you followed me here? So, who do you think needs you more right now?" Vermont's foolish expression showed. It hadn't expected to be so easily cornered. It bristled with irritation. "Are you threatening me now?" Enrica stretched casually. "Oh, calling it a threat is a bit much. I'm just stating the facts. So, think carefully, Vermont." The sun's rays added to the mansion's brilliance. Enrica and Raphael were currently enjoying tea in the garden. Raphael spoke, "I heard you brought home a cat while I was away." "Henry, I didn't expect you to keep a pet." Enrica remained silent, feeling quite helpless. "It's actually a familiar, not very obedient, and quite irritable, too." Raphael looked at Enrica, wanting to see her expression. She was deep in thought that I've recovered my magic power, but I've been worried this whole time because I don't know what to do next. "Theo, first, I have to gather clues to find a magic tool that's currently in the Winterso family's possession. To do that, of course, I have to." Before she could finish her thought, Raphael fed her a strawberry. Enrica made a request. Gail, there's something I'd like to ask of you." Raphael gently replied, "Yes, anything at all." Enrica continued, "I want to attend the masquerade ball that the Marquis family is hosting soon." Raphael froze. He hesitated. "Of the ball?" Enrica was a little surprised. "Why does he seem so reluctant?" She asked worriedly. "Yes, is there a problem?" Raphael quickly said, "It's not that. I was just wondering if it's necessary to leave the comfort of home to willingly participate in the battles of the nobility." Enrica was filled with anxiety. "Why do I have a feeling he won't easily allow it? I'll have to use my trump card." She apologized. "I'm sorry, Gail." Enrica put on a sorrowful expression and said, "My father always said the same thing, that women shouldn't go out freely without permission. I probably made him feel ashamed in front of others. I've said something unnecessary again. Now that I've left home, I was hoping my life could change too." Raphael, flustered, explained, "No, Henry, that's not what I meant." Raphael indulged his beloved wife, truly unable to refuse her. "There's no helping it with you. Do whatever you want." Enrica, having achieved her goal, said cheerfully, "Thank you, Gail." Raphael added, But if it's a ball, don't you need a new dress?" After dinner, "Let's go to a dress shop, Henry." A while later, they arrived at a luxurious clothing store. Enrica was a little flustered. "Gail, this clothing store looks very expensive. Isn't this a bit wasteful?" Raphael said affectionately, "You don't need to worry about that. Feel free to choose whatever you like." The shopkeeper quickly rushed out to greet them. "Oh, my welcome. I received a call and have been waiting for you." He turned to address them. Grand, Raphael's gaze radiated a deadly aura. Malua reminded him, "Don't ask anything And when His Grace the Grand Duke arrives, you absolutely must call him Count, or we'll both die." The shopkeeper hastily corrected himself. "Ah, Count, it's an honor to have you visit us personally." Enrica looked around and exclaimed, "Gale, there are so many beautiful dresses. I don't know which one to choose." Raphael smiled gently. "Oh, that's a big decision, isn't it?" He snapped his fingers and requested, "Could you recommend a dress suitable for my fiancée?" The shopkeeper immediately obeyed. "Yes, of course." This dress was carefully sewn stitch by a foreign artisan. "What do you think? This bright color would suit the young lady's beautiful pink hair." Enrica decided, "That's nice, isn't it? Then I'll take this one." However, Raphael interrupted. "Wait a moment. I think a pale blue would look more elegant. Do you have any thinner fabrics?" The shop assistant replied, "Since this is made from imported fabric, it won't be hot or uncomfortable at all." He pondered, "Not bad. Anything else?" The shop assistant enthusiastically offered other options. "What do you think of this design? This style has been trending in the royal palace lately." Enrica wondered. "Gale, we're only buying one dress. Is it really necessary to look at so many?" Raphael looked at her affectionately and said, "What are you saying, Henry? You need at least 30 outfits, a different one for each day." Enrica frantically waved her hands and feet point 30 outfits. "I only need one. That would be such a waste for Gale." However, Raphael thought differently. "No, on the contrary, it seems beneficial to me. Every time you try on one of these outfits, you'll remember me." Enrica blushed, her inner voice screaming, "I'd rather you didn't say that." The shopkeeper announced, "Then we will carefully package the outfits you have purchased and send them to the Count's mansion." Raphael said kindly, "Thank you for your time, Henry. Why don't you step outside and get some fresh air first? I'll pay and follow you out." Enrica obediently listened. "Yes, thank you, Gale." The sky was clear, but Enrica didn't seem as bright as the sunshine. Lost in thought, she mused, buying 30 dresses at once in such a high-end store. "Is Gale richer than I thought?" A pair of imposing black boots strode towards Enrica. A familiar voice called out, "Henry," Martha said with an uncomfortable expression. "I need to talk to you." Enrica exclaimed worriedly, "Martha, what are you doing here?" She snapped angrily, "What do you mean, what am I doing here? I said I needed to talk to you. Is this somewhere I'm not allowed to be?" Enrica remained silent, just staring at her. Then she turned to leave. "I have nothing to say to you. Go back." Martha cried out in a panic. Wait, I just want to talk for a bit." Suddenly, she noticed someone approaching. It was Raphael, along with his knights, shielding Enrica from Martha. Raphael spoke in a voice that chilled Martha, "That you're pulling someone who was about to leave. Don't you think that's rude?" She stammered in response, I just wanted to talk to her." Enrica struggled against the two knights, thinking he's really angry. Then she helplessly called out his name. Gael. I'll talk to her properly and tell her to go back. Don't worry." Her gentle words softened Raphael's heart. "Are you sure?" Enrica cheerfully assured him. "Yes, wait for me." He didn't stop her, saying, of course, Henry. A while later, inside the luxurious palace, Enrica softly spoke. "So what did you want to say?" Martha looked at her fearfully. "Sister, do you really not intend to come home?" She looked helplessly in her teacup and smiled calmly. "Why? Is father very angry?" Martha relayed the Baron's words. "No, he just said it was bound to happen sooner or later." Enrica thought with a heavy heart. That explains why there hasn't been a single contact from the Baron's mansion. Have they really abandoned me? That easily? Suddenly, Martha hesitantly added, "And also after you left home, I happened to find your diary in your room." Enrica narrowed her eyes thoughtfully. "My diary." The diary where she had recorded every instance of abuse and relentless humiliation she suffered at the hands of the Duke, being drained of her magic like a slave. Martha hung her head low, guilt-ridden that I didn't know father treated you so badly. Enrica wondered, what is this? Is she going to apologize now? Then she said gently, "It's not that you didn't know, you just pretended not to see, right, Martha? You're just like father. All this time, you've been looking for ways to torment me. You spread malicious rumors to the servants so that I would be completely isolated. Don't pretend to be remorseful now." Martha stood up agitatedly and yelled, That's because mother suffered because of you." Enrica calmly retorted, "Mother? You mean the Duke's mistress?" She stammered in surprise. "Sister, how did you know about that?" Enrica's face was indescribably sorrowful. She was lost in thought. "It seems Martha already knows we aren't blood-related. The Duke must have told her that the Duchess caused the accident that killed her mother, so it's natural for her to hate me." Martha's eyes widened. She stood dumbfounded and said, So you knew everything? That I'm not the Duke's legitimate daughter, but just a bastard child. Sister, please don't tell anyone. If the truth comes out, I'll... Even though she pleaded with Enrica, she remained cold. I'm not you, Martha, and you're not a child anymore. Stop letting yourself be swayed by father's words and learn to think for yourself. It's easy to blame others, but your mother's death was clearly just an accident. I have nothing more to say, so I'm leaving. Martha cried out in a panic. Wait. She bowed her head sadly and said, Sister, time passed quietly, and the day of the masked ball finally arrived. Enrica spoke hesitantly. Sarah, do I really not look strange? This feels so unnatural. Sarah gently replied, No, you look truly beautiful, so much so that I feel bad letting anyone else see you. Enrica resigned herself and accepted it. Yes. A moment later, she descended the stairs. At the same time, Raphael was waiting for her below. He spoke cheerfully when he heard her footsteps. Henry, everything is ready. He looked up and was captivated by her beauty. Enrica was radiantly beautiful. She walked gracefully towards him, demurely lifting the hem of her dress. At that moment, Raphael groaned and bowed his head. Enrica rushed to his side in alarm. Gail, what's wrong? He then immediately lifted her chin, surprising her. Seeing you in this gown, my non-existent heart suddenly feels like it's skipping a beat. Enrica blushed at his actions. She thought to herself, irritated, what a flirt. A moment later, they both sat down. He started a conversation with her. Seeing you like this makes me even less inclined to let you go alone. Do you still intend to attend without a partner? Enrica quickly replied, I'm sorry, but I have something I must do. Raphael looked at her tenderly and offered his opinion. If you insist, then I can't stop you. After the banquet ends, I'll come to pick you up. Don't refuse. She readily agreed. Yes, I'll wait for you, Gail. The Marquis's mansion at the banquet. Enrica walked confidently, wearing a mask. She walked while lost in thought. The reason for tonight's banquet is for the royal family to recognize the Marquis family's contributions and to publicly unveil the bestowed treasure. Reward. But that treasure was stolen by someone. At that time, Marquis Dai was furious. The bestowed treasure was stolen. Enrica recalled. While enjoying a private moment with the female lead at the masked ball, the male lead suddenly threw off his mask. Revealing the face of the second prince, he angrily questioned, What in the world is this commotion? The plan is completely ruined. Marquis Dai stammered. Why, your highness? After that, everyone knelt before the second prince. He spoke authoritatively. Marquis, you dare to let the treasure bestowed by the royal family be lost? This crime can only be atoned for with death. Marquis Dai immediately denied it and shifted the blame to the Marchioness. I'm not at fault. The management of the treasure is the Marchioness's responsibility. The second prince responded arrogantly. Is that so? Then the Marchioness will. The moment the blade was about to fall, Sophia quickly spoke up. Wait, your highness. The Marchioness is so pitiful. Please forgive her. Please, for my sake. The second prince replied indifferently. Haha, should I? And just like that, the Marchioness swore loyalty to the female lead. You saved me, she said. Oh, miss, you're my lifesaver. Enrica pondered. Thinking about it, it really is an irredeemable plot. With a protagonist like that, it's understandable why the villain is more popular. But that also means it's possible to shift the Marchioness's blind loyalty towards myself because she approached and skillfully started a conversation with the Marchioness. Marchioness Dai, you don't look well. It seems you need my help. At the same time, she continued thinking, because I know who stole the treasure. The Marchioness turned, her eyes sharp as she looked at her voice full of suspicion. Help me? Appearing suddenly and saying that. What do you mean? Enrica smiled faintly, her eyes gleaming as if she knew everything. The treasure displayed at the banquet has disappeared, hasn't it? Hearing that, the Marchioness froze, her expression changing slightly, but she quickly regained her composure. She asked forcefully, how is that? Who are you? Do you have anything to do with the treasure's disappearance? Enrica calmly replied, Before I reveal my identity, you probably won't believe anything I say. Having finished speaking, she removed her mask. The light reflected on her beautiful and noble face as she formally introduced herself. I am Enrica Winterso, the eldest daughter of the Winterso dukedom. I believe I can help you find the lost treasure. The Marchioness's eyes widened in surprise, unable to hide the confusion in her voice. No, Lady Enrica, How could you? She gritted her teeth, looking directly at her. You don't think I would suspect you? Enrica calmly replied. If I were the thief, I wouldn't be foolish enough to remove my mask. I am standing here now under the name of the Winterso Dukedom, Marchioness. The Marchioness fell silent, her eyes scanning Enrica's face as if weighing every word. After a moment, she reached up and removed her own mask, her lips curving slightly. Very well, I will tentatively trust the Winterso Dukedom. She looked up at Enrica, her gaze sharp but also serious. And if you can truly recover the treasure, I also promise you, in the name of the Dimarchiate, I will pay a worthy price. Enrica nodded slightly, her voice carrying absolute confidence and authority. Please wait for me for exactly 1 hour, Marchioness. Elsewhere, Sophia leaned dejectedly against the cold wall of the hallway. I'm so tired. She clutched her aching shoulder, sighing inwardly. I really shouldn't attend these balls, she thought. Today I was nearly bothered to death by those nobles again. They kept whispering, oh, could that girl be? It seems like it, doesn't it? Even though she was wearing a mask, they still recognized her. She chuckled dryly. Memories flashed through her mind like a film reel. That MY name is Sophia Fagreen. Until not long ago, I was just an ordinary and unremarkable baron's daughter. An insignificant. Yes, that was until I began this fake romantic relationship with the second prince. All the misfortunes started that day, when the second prince suddenly said to me, I wonder if you would be willing to become my lover. She was surprised and unconsciously replied, yes, then quickly glanced at him with a look of disgust. He tilted his head, chuckling softly, oh, you hate it that much? It's a bit perplexing. Fortunately, the prince's proposal was simply to have her pretend to be his lover to avoid the increasingly harsh scrutiny from his older brothers. Thinking of the first prince and the third prince, the second prince rested his chin on his hand and said calmly, Sophia, you're the most suitable person for this. If I pretend to be infatuated with an insignificant, low-status young lady like you in high society, the vigilance of my brothers should decrease somewhat. Sophia dejectedly lowered her head, then hesitantly asked, confused, why should I participate in something so dangerous? What do I gain from pretending to be your highness's lover? He raised an eyebrow slightly, resting his chin in thought. That's a valid point. Well then, the cooperation fee is 9 billion gold coins per month. How about that? Her eyes lit up at the thought of 9 billion. And so, that fake relationship began, and everything went quite smoothly. The nobles gossiped endlessly. What is His Highness thinking, getting involved with such an incompetent young lady? TSK. I guess a pretty face is enough. Background doesn't seem to matter. Sophia sighed. Remembering the times when she didn't need to act, the second prince would coldly critique her. Sophia, your acting was terrible today. I remember telling you to play the role of a foolish, shallow young lady, but your expression now is far too sharp. She retorted angrily. Didn't I do it right? I opened my mouth and relaxed my eyes just like you said. He furrowed his brows, scrutinizing her. Your mouth isn't open wide enough. It should be at least the width of a finger joint. You have to put more heart into your acting. She clenched her fists. Seriously, don't make me mad. Just show me how to do it yourself. Back in the present, Sophia thought painfully, pretending to be in love, my foot. It's no different from being tortured by my boss. I should have said something back then. Why is my personality so timid and hesitant? Just once, I want to be honest and tell His Highness everything. As she opened the door, she heard a commanding voice, I know everything. Sophia was startled. Who is that? The voice of a woman continued, if you don't want to suffer, tell me where the treasure is. She peeked through the crack in the door. It was Enrica, threatening Miss Brown. Oh, you want me to call an acquaintance who's a dark mage? Do you dream of being tortured to the point where you'd rather die? With that, Enrica grabbed and pulled at Miss Brown's necklace. Sophia stared wide-eyed at the scene before her, filled with envy. She daydreamed, all right, I also want to grab the prince's collar like that, just once. That young lady is exactly my type of person. Miss Brown stammered nervously. Treasure? What treasure? I don't know anything. What are you basing these suspicions on? But Enrica knew the truth. Lady Brown, the mastermind behind the treasure theft, according to the book, was greedy and had a habit of stealing. If she handled her, she would surely gain the Marchioness's trust. Thinking this, Enrica smiled slyly. Of course, I have evidence. You're Marquis Dai's mistress, aren't you? Miss Brown panicked. What are you talking about? The two grappled, unaware that Sophia was eavesdropping from behind the door. Seeing her continued denial, Enrica pressed on with her threats. That's why I said I know everything. If the Marchioness finds out you received the key to the treasury from the Marquis, and then secretly smuggled out precious items, she definitely won't let it go. Do you think she'll leave you alone? It's best to return what you stole. It'll be better for you. Miss Brown, terrified, fell silent. Enrica continued, well, are you ready to return the royal gifts? Sophia, behind the door, silently applauded the excellent performance. A moment later, the Marchioness said joyfully, thank you so much, Miss Winterso. How can I ever repay this kindness? I'll never forget your favor. Enrica humbly replied, it's nothing. I only did what I should. The Marchioness added, I'm so ashamed to have you witness this stain on the marquise. I never imagined my husband's mistress would be the thief. She continued, being betrayed by the husband I trusted must be a huge shock. Enrica spoke softly, her tone concerned. What do you plan to do now, Marchioness? The Marchioness declared resolutely, first, I'll get a divorce. Enrica took her arm and nodded that I support you. The Marchioness continued, speaking of which, I've heard that the Duchess is frail and delicate. Seeing you today, I realize how unreliable rumors can be. Even I, the one managing the household, didn't know anything, yet you discovered it and offered advice. Truly the vision of a future Grand Duchess, Miss Winterso. Enrica, puzzled, responded, Grand Duchess. By now, the rumor of her broken engagement with the Grand Duke must have spread throughout high society. She gave an awkward, confused laugh. Gee, Grand Duchess. The Marchioness replied, yes, but wasn't he with you today? Enrica questioned, I didn't see his name on the guest list. The Marchioness paused to think that I'm sure I saw the Grand Duke's name on the list. Thinking of that terrifying arch-villain, Enrica fled in a panic down the hallway. No way. Is the Grand Duke really here? She thought. If I run into him, what should I do? He could be in the banquet hall. I can't go back there. Suddenly, she spotted the empty balcony. All right, she decided, I'll stay on the balcony for a while, and when people start leaving in groups, I'll quietly blend in and get out of here. Enrica hugged herself, complaining, ugh, I'm so bored. I should have grabbed something to drink. Ow, when did I get this bug bite? Ugh, I'm so itchy. Suddenly, someone called her name, Enrica. She turned around, thinking, could it be Kale? The person continued, Enrica, is that you? She silently countered her own thought. No, his voice is similar in depth, but darker and rougher. Much more gravelly. Could it be Duke Gronhardt? Thinking this, she clutched her dress, fear gripping her as she looked up at the figure reflected. In the window, Enrica dropped to her knees, her face full of distress, and oh, Duke Gronhardt. Raphael, seeing this, paused thoughtfully before replying. Indeed, Enrica was so stunned she couldn't speak. She thought this voice, the last emotions Enrica felt rushed in like a tide. A terrible pain pierced her heart, a fierce desire to live, and then a regret even more painful than that pain. Enrica panicked. Asterisk, what should I do? The Duke definitely won't let me off after I rejected his proposal and ran away. Asterisk, she cried out, begging, Your Highness, please forgive me. Raphael's emotions were in turmoil. Enrica was silently mortified. Wait, I've got the hiccups. Asterisk, this sounds like I'm actually crying. The Duke definitely won't tolerate this annoying crying. Asterisk. Raphael asked, his voice thick with emotion, Enrica, why did you do this to me? Enrica collected herself. Asterisk, wait, this isn't the time to be standing here like this. I have to go out, kneel, and beg for my life. Asterisk. She blurted out, I'll come to you right now, Your Highness. She ran to open the door. However, the moment the door opened, Raphael was no longer there. Enrica softly called out, Your Grace, Your Highness. After a moment, she walked down the hallway, a troubled expression on her face. It's fortunate I didn't run into the Duke, but why did he disappear so suddenly? She glanced at the crowd before her. Asterisk, all the nobles are here. Could it be that the royal family has arrived? Asterisk, suddenly, Enrica noticed her husband appearing before her eyes. Kale. Enrica flailed her arms in a panic. Kale, why are you here? Raphael gently replied, Didn't I say I was coming to get you, Enri? Enrica looked around, wondering, why is everyone whispering like that? She anxiously tugged at her husband's sleeve. Enrica urged, let's go. Sitting in the carriage, she sighed in relief. Kale, thank you for coming to get me, but why did you come in through the main gate? What if I had run into the Duke? Raphael questioned, so it would have been better if I hadn't come. Her expression darkened as she replied, No, thinking about it, it turned out well. We need the nobles to see us together more often. But the Marchioness said I would become the Grand Duchess. That's absurd. Seeing Raphael's silence, Enrica glanced at him. Her husband, for some reason, had a sorrowful expression and was on the verge of tears. Enrica was alarmed. Kale, are you crying? Raphael replied sadly, There is something that makes me want to cry, but I won't. Enrica wondered. Asterisk, what is it? Did something bad happen? Asterisk, then she teased. Ah, don't tell me you miss me so much you wanted to cry. Raphael immediately confirmed. Well, maybe that's it. Compared to usual, Kale would put on a coy expression and say, oh dear, have I been found out? Enrica trembled all over. This situation is really serious. I need to find something to improve my mood. Ah, that's right. She hurriedly joked, Kale, I'll show you something interesting. Enrica took a deep breath to prepare herself. I have to remember the feeling of that day. She cupped her hands together. A brilliant magic circle appeared. Raphael was astonished, his eyes sparkling with delight. Magical branches bloomed, dotted with countless fluttering butterflies. It looked truly beautiful. Enrica exclaimed cheerfully, wow, it worked. She asked excitedly, surprise, Kale? Actually, I can use magic. I lost my magic power for a while, and it's only recently recovered. Raphael watched, mesmerized. This is truly amazing. Enrica expressed, I hope it can help lift your curse. I've tried my best. Raphael was touched, and why, lady, I didn't expect you to think of me so much. Enrica soothed her husband with a warm voice. Isn't this only natural? Even if it's just pretend and temporary, you're still my fiancé. Just like Kale always tries his best for me, I'll also try my best to lift Kale's curse. Raphael was stunned, watching the butterflies fly freely. How sweet they were. Raphael said gratefully, meeting you is the greatest fortune of my life, Enri. Soon, the two returned to the mansion. Enrica spoke. Kale, we've arrived at the Count's mansion. Kale. Raphael didn't respond. He had fallen asleep at some point. Enrica fixed her eyes on him. Raphael suddenly let out a soft moan. A tear rolled down his cheek. He murmured, don't hate me too much. Enrica exclaimed softly, having a dream? And with tears in his eyes, too. The atmosphere in the carriage was quiet. Enrica moved to sit beside Raphael, unable to help but think. Seeing Kale sleeping like this feels so strange. And that tearful face just now, too. The Kale I know is always composed and calm, yet now he's showing such a vulnerable side. Enrica reached out and gently stroked her husband's head. Her inner voice echoed, come to think of it, I really don't know anything about Kale, about the Count's family, about Kale's family. If I have the chance, I definitely have to ask. Enrica whispered, Kale, wake up. The servants are waiting. Enrica tried to shake him awake. Raphael startled and woke up. He grabbed Enrica's hand and pinned her down. Enrica was extremely surprised. She softly cried out, ah, Kale. Raphael didn't say anything, just silently looked at her. Tears fell. Enrica called out in a daze. Kale. Raphael moved his hand slightly, stroking her hair and calling. Enri, is this a dream? Enrica immediately cupped his face and exclaimed, it's not. Inwardly, she was speechless. Are you still dreaming? Malua came to open the carriage door and asked, Lord Count, what happened? Why haven't you gotten out yet? Malua was met with a scene. Malua was startled. He hurriedly ran away, shouting as he fled, I apologize for disturbing you. Enrica frantically explained, it's not like that. A few days later, Enrica received a letter, the contents of which read, thank you very much, Lady Enrica, for your help the other day. If you have time, could we have tea together? Marchioness die. She excitedly boasted, look, Vermin, the Marchioness has invited me to her villa. Vermin didn't bother to pay attention. Not my business. Marchioness Di came from a renowned knightly family. In her youth, she endured countless trials and harsh training. She was a formidable figure who had conquered the upper class. After retiring, Enrica pondered, it seems the artifact has helped me win her favor. Surely, she will become a strong supporter for her. Me, right? Vermin turned back to ask her. Following the ball is an invitation from the Marchioness. Seeing you gallivanting around like this, it seems you've given up on the engagement, haven't you? However, Enrica was still diligently calculating. All of this is part of a larger plan to save Kale. Vermin contemptuously questioned, do you really think you can break his curse without me? Enrica pondered for a moment. She sat down and replied, no, currently, the only thing I can do is only display magical power. Enrica recalled. Last time, luckily, I didn't need to use magic, but there's no guarantee everything will be resolved like that this time. She continued, I truly want to regain my power. As well, if you help me, I think I can do it, Vermin. Vermin gnawed on the bell around its neck, angrily throwing it towards Enrica. It roared, I hate you. Vermin raised its claws. I hate wanting to help that weak demon, and also hate that calling a 400-year-old demon who has no interest in conquering the world. Vermin angrily ran off, leaving behind the words, don't make me go soft like this. Enrica quickly called after it. Vermin, she was dumbfounded. What is going on with that old cat? Meanwhile, at Marchioness Di's mansion, Enrica walked with a thoughtful expression. This is a place I haven't seen during the ball. The mansion's garden is beautifully decorated. Although it can't compare to Kale's villa, but it's quite pretty and lovely. Unfortunately, Enrica sprained her ankle at this moment. She panicked and thought, I'm going to fall. Tristan appeared out of nowhere, gently catching her. A kind voice spoke. My lady, are you all right? Enrica was a little startled, stepping back and replying, yes, I'm fine. Her heart was in turmoil. Who is this man? Enrica had an uncomfortable expression. She looked down at her foot and guessed. It hurts. I think I sprained my ankle when I almost fell. Tristan exclaimed softly. Oh no. He quickly picked Enrica up. Enrica panicked. Wait, what are you doing? Tristan reassured her. Taking care of the injured is what a knight should do. Please, just rest. Enrica cried internally. I haven't even done this with Kale. Tristan innocently asked, where are you headed? I'll escort you. At this moment, Marchioness Di came running, shouting, Tristan Di, you rascal, are you at it again? Tristan put Enrica down, innocently saying, Sister, you're here? Marchioness Di spoke. I sincerely apologize, Lady Enrica. I think you should go home and rest, Miss Enrica. I have so many things I want to ask you, but then Marchioness Di turned back and snapped, Tristan, what in the world have you done to our precious guest? Tristan replied indignantly, I only helped the injured guest. Enrica was suspicious. Asterisk, do the Marchioness and her brother not get along? She seems very displeased. Asterisk, Marchioness Di. Enrica said, what did you want to ask me? The Marchioness put on a worried expression that, it's nothing serious. After the banquet, someone came to me and said they really wanted to meet Miss Enrica. They asked me to help arrange a meeting. Enrica was curious. Who? Who was it? Inwardly, she speculated, could be Duke Cronhart. Marchioness Di said it was Miss Sophia Fay Green, the Baron's daughter. Enrica trembled, anxiety flooding her mind. Asterisk Sophia Fay Green? Why is the female lead from the original story looking for me? What's going on? Why am I being dragged into this? Asterisk Marchioness Di continued. She said she was captivated by your spirit at first glance. It was all such nonsense. I felt very awkward, so I told her we weren't acquainted. Enrica breathed a sigh of relief, silently praising the Marchioness. That's good. Enrica put a hand to her forehead, lost in thought. Asterisk avoiding the Duke is tiring enough. I absolutely don't want to get involved with the female lead, who's always causing trouble with the prince. Asterisk Tristan spoke up. It seems like you have a talent for captivating people at first glance, Miss Enrica. I'll escort you on your way home. Marchioness Di lost her composure and hissed, Tristan, get away from Miss Enrica this instant. I don't know what your scheme is, Tristan said calmly. Scheme? I'm being sincere this time, sister. Enrica was bewildered. Asterisk scheme? This time, asterisk Marchioness Di quickly took Enrica's hand and said loudly, this way, Miss Enrica. She turned back and said coldly, Tristan, get away from here immediately. I will escort Miss Enrica home in the marquee carriage. Enrica wondered, Marchioness Di, do you need to be so angry? Your brother was just trying to help. Marchioness Di sighed. Miss Enrica, although he's my brother, she warned, he's someone you should stay away from. Enrica continued to question, but why? Marchioness Di explained, Tristan, that man, the number of women he's been involved with has to be in the hundreds. He's a notorious womanizer. The scene changed to the Duke's mansion. A servant announced, Miss Enrica, we've arrived. Enrica slowly stepped out. She was still puzzled by the previous events. Asterisk a womanizer? I just thought he was a kind person. But could the Marchioness have misunderstood something? Asterisk a servant quickly stood before Enrica, holding a bouquet while she was preoccupied. Family members are often hard on each other. The servant told her this. Master Tristan asked me to give this to you. The message on the card read, instead of remembering your injured ankle, remember these flowers. Enrica thought to herself, Asteriskum, a womanizer indeed. It's quite possible. No wonder the Marchioness was so worried. Asterisk, a gentle hand rested on Enrica's head. Raphael asked affectionately, what are these flowers? He quietly observed, his eyes fixed on the bouquet and the card Enrica was holding. His expression darkened, showing displeasure. He asked curiously, Enri, I was gone for a short while, and you two have already gone on a date? And then, Enrica explained, it's nothing. I just arrived at the Marquis's estate and accidentally got a small injury. This is probably an apology gift. Raphael exclaimed in alarm. Wait, you're injured? Let me see, Enrica replied. It's nothing, just a slightly sprained ankle. Raphael's glossy hair swayed slightly. He lifted Enrica up. Enrica said shyly, Kale, there's no need to go this far. Just helping me up a little would have been fine. In her mind, she was filled with question marks. What's gotten into everyone today? Why does everyone want to carry me? Raphael sighed. If you won't let me carry you, then so be it. I will officially investigate the Marquis' estate for failing to protect my fiancée. Enrica cried out in alarm. Ah, I understand. Raphael beamed, happy to be carrying his beloved fiancée in his arms. Enrica spoke. Kale, but don't you find it strange? Raphael, confused, asked, What do you mean? Enrica continued. The Marchioness still thinks I'm going to become the Grand Duchess. Hasn't she heard that I'm with Kale, not the Grand Duke? Raphael reassured her. If it's Marchioness Di, she doesn't really pay attention to rumors. Enrica was still suspicious. But even so, someone who has a grasp on high society like her, wouldn't she know about this? Enrica looked around. Only now did she realize she was being stared at. Her inner thoughts cried out, Ah, are they all looking at me? This is so embarrassing. Raphael told her, Enri, there's no need to cover your face. It's all right. She still hesitated, but, so he continued, if the servants were being disrespectful, I apologize on their behalf. This scene is rare, so they're just curious. Enrica asked, if it's a scene like this, do you mean Kale carrying me? Raphael clarified, more accurately, the scene of me smiling and talking with someone. In Enrica's room, Raphael kindly instructed, so please rest well until dinner. I'll have the royal physician examine your ankle. Enrica pondered. Has he never smiled and talked with his servants before? Does Kale's family never visit the Duke's mansion? She hesitantly spoke. Kale, before I came, were you living alone in the Duke's mansion? I don't recall ever hearing you mention your family or any relatives. Raphael fell silent, his eyes tinged with melancholy. He told her, Do you want me to answer honestly? My family, most of them are dead. The former Duke Cronhart was a man with countless concubines. Raphael's mother was just one lover with no power among them. Amidst the women eager to make their sons the heir, she drank tea sent by the second wife while pregnant and quickly became weak. Despite struggling to give birth, she couldn't hold her baby, not even once before closing her eyes. The maid screamed in terror. Ah, the baby isn't crying. I can't feel a pulse. The former Duke exclaimed in shock. What are you saying? Do you mean the baby is dead? The maid replied, No, the baby isn't dead. Its breath is weak, but it's still alive. While everyone was still in shock and unsure what to do, the one who appeared at that moment was an unknown dark magician. He declared, If this continues, the child will die soon. Only I can save the child. Give the child to me. The former Duke didn't care about his mistress's child, and the maids, left with no other choice, finally handed the baby over to the dark magician. Raphael Cronhart grew up as the dark magician's experimental subject, tormented by countless magical experiments. Nosebleeds and excruciating headaches that led to fainting became commonplace. Every time the thought, it would be better to die, crossed his mind, the dark magician continuously poured magic into Raphael's heart, saving him time and time again. But even if you pour water into a cracked vase, it will eventually shatter. They said even if he survived, he would only last until he was 20. If he was lucky, maybe a few more years. Finally, after years of enduring terrible pain, at the age of 10, Raphael screamed, Kill me instead. For the first time, Raphael dared to defy the dark magician. He cried out in hatred, If you're going to let me live like this, it's better to let me die. The dark magician stroked his chin. Very well, it's finally time. I'll return you, Raphael. I was only interested in you because I wanted to see how someone cursed like you would end. Perhaps you'll fall into a more miserable state than anything you've experienced so far. He said to him with a frightening expression, I will grant you freedom. Live, Raphael struggled to survive. Amuse me until your last moments. After receiving word from the dark magician, the Cronhart dukedom carried out a brief confirmation process and officially entered Raphael's name into the family register. A family was something he had never dared to dream of. A soft bed, warm meals. Before he could fully grasp this suspicious luxury, the first assassination attempt by poisoning took place. Fresh blood welled up in his mouth. But Raphael wasn't afraid. Looking at his blood-stained hand, he calmly thought, This is fine. I'm used to this sort of thing. Every day, Raphael faced poison and assassins sent by his own siblings. He secretly bribed mages on the streets, pouring magic into his decaying body to continue surviving. He endured silently, secretly building up his strength within the dukedom. And when everything was ready, he began to fight back. His eldest brother, who had sent the poison, died after drinking tea. His second eldest sister, who had sent the assassins, lost her life in a carriage accident. By the time it came to the third sibling, he didn't bother hiding his feelings anymore and delivered a bloody lesson. Rumors of a curse on the dukedom began to spread as the remaining siblings left the territory one by one. Finally, he personally sent his father to the grave. The dark magician's words echoed in his mind, that he would fall into a more miserable state than anything he had experienced. In the end, he couldn't escape that curse. And yet, at the moment he met his destiny, Raphael's chest pounded. This heart, which had been empty, ached with pain until I met you. Returning to the present, Raphael leaned sadly against Enrica MY family. They're almost all gone. His expression was filled with anguish. Enrica was stunned, unable to speak. Raphael squeezed her hand, seeking comfort. Enrica expressed her pain. I'm sorry, I asked something meaningless. Raphael told her, perhaps it's best if we dine alone tonight, Enri. He left, forcing a smile at her, suddenly feigning an urgent matter. I'll see you later then. Enrica blurted out, wait, Kale. Pain was etched on her face. Panicked, Enrica cried, something's wrong. The night sky was quiet, the moonlight illuminating the buildings. Enrica ended up eating alone. She fretted, no matter how busy he is, Kale always has dinner with me. Did I make a serious mistake? Enrica abruptly stood up, telling herself, this uneasy feeling is unbearable. I have to apologize properly. As Enrica was about to knock, she heard a conversation inside the room. What's the best course of action? Raphael continued. And the reason? Malua bowed her head. I apologize. Malua continued her report. The Duchess was said to have been gravely ill 2 months ago. I tried to find out if her memories from that time were. Curiosity consumed Enrica. Wait, the Duchess? Are they talking about me? Malua reported. After that, I questioned those around the Duchess who might be involved. Raphael signaled Malua to stop. Enrica was also surprised. Inside the room, the two of them looked towards the door. Raphael silently walked to the exit. He quickly threw open the door. Raphael paused in thought. Malua anxiously approached and asked, is someone there? However, the hallway was empty. Enrica had quickly hidden herself. Raphael instructed Malua, continue. Enrica hurried away, troubled, thinking back on what she'd heard. Something felt strange. Even when speaking about the deaths of his family, his expression remained oddly calm, and his voice was cold when he mentioned her. For the first time, she had that thought. Perhaps Kale, compared to the image she had seen until now, perhaps he had a completely different side. The next day, Sarah exclaimed, oh dear, Mississippi. Sarah looked worriedly at Enrica's haggard appearance. Why do you look like this today? Enrica's mind was still lost in thought. Hey, essay result. I couldn't sleep a wink because I was so anxious. Sarah spoke up. At least you should brush your hair. Come here. Enrica obediently complied. Enrica sighed deeply. She glanced at the flowers she had been given, her thoughts shifting. Come to think of it. Enrica turned and asked, Sarah, do you know anyone named Cheand? Sarah replied, is there any woman in the kingdom who doesn't know that name? Cheand joined the Holy Knights at 18. He's famous for the rumor of being caught with a nun and being expelled after only a year. They say from maids and handmaidens to the ladies of noble families, there isn't a woman he hasn't charmed. But don't worry, miss. If that philanderer dares to approach you, I absolutely won't let him get away with it. Enrica stiffly replied, thank you, Sarah. Enrica continued to stretch and sighed, I can't believe it's to that extent. Appearances can be deceiving. I definitely shouldn't get involved with him. Enrica carefully looked again at the person outside the window. Cheand cheerfully waved back at her. Enrica abruptly stood up in a panic. She hurried away, throwing back only the words, Sarah, I'll be out for a bit. Cheand greeted her. It's a pleasure to see you again, Mississippi. Enrica, breathless, asked, how did you know this place? No, first of all, how did you even get into the mansion? Cheand explained, I asked your coachman from the other day for the address, and I slipped into the mansion through this hole. Enrica gaped, there's such a thing. Cheand expressed, my apologies. I know it's rude, but I was worried about your injury and couldn't help myself. Enrica urged, even so, you can't do that. If someone sees you here, it'll be a big problem. Go back now. She thought to herself, I'm already distraught enough because of Kale. Cheand turned back, questioning, Miss, is something troubling you? Enrica blushed, but feigned ignorance. Cheand continued, because your expression seems unusually gloomy. Reading women's expressions is my specialty. Enrica thought to herself, that's understandable. Cheand told Enrica, if something's bothering you, please tell me. Confiding in an outsider who knows nothing might make you feel a little better. Who knows? I might be able to help you with something. Enrica hesitated for a moment. She haltingly spoke, well, after listening to the story, Cheand understood the gist. It seems someone you know is hiding something. You're worried because you don't know what it is, right? Enrica replied, yes, that's about it. Cheand smiled. He spoke up. If that's the case, I think I can help. Follow me, Mississippi. Cheand introduced this place. This is the largest intelligence guild in the kingdom. You could say there's no information this place can't find. Enrica was astonished. I never knew such a place existed. Looking at the scene inside, Enrica became a little worried. Why is the atmosphere so creepy? A man abruptly stood up, startling Enrica. Cac placed a hand covered in scars on Cheand's shoulder. Cac slowly spoke. It's been a while, hasn't it, Guild Master Cheand? Enrica was dumbfounded, Guild Master. While she stared at Cheand in surprise, Cac continued rambling. Even if you say you don't care anymore, you can't just leave everything to me and wander around like that, can you? Cheand chuckled in response. That also means I trust the Vice Guild Master. Cac said, the last time we met must have been the day you were almost executed for trying to run away in the night with the Well Princess, right? Hearing this, Enrica's eyes widened in shock. Run away with the princess? Cac stroked his chin and continued. Just yesterday, you were struggling to find a way to escape. Hearing this, Cheand held up a finger and said, Cac, please be quiet. Cac finally noticed Enrica. He asked, but who is this beautiful young lady? Could she be Anu? She stammered, no, that's... Suddenly, her eyes narrowed. Looking at the two people who had just come out, startled. Wait a minute, isn't that Matha? She quickly hid behind Cheand. Matha casually walked forward as the waiter bid him farewell. Please have a safe trip back. Enrica wondered, what is Matha doing here? After a moment, Cac spoke up, inviting her then, please come upstairs. That's where the Information Guild's room is. Enrica stopped pacing and replied, ah yes. The three of them went upstairs. After listening to her request, Cac asked, so, who exactly is the person you'd like us to investigate, miss? Without waiting for Enrica to answer, Cheand spoke up for her. It's someone she suspects is hiding their true identity. Enrica thought to herself, I initially intended to inquire about Kale, but it's difficult to ask Cheand directly. He is a nobleman. After all, Perhaps, thinking this, she said, the information I truly want is about my younger sister, Matha Winteros. She turned a blind eye when my father exploited me and constantly tormented me. Moreover, I just saw her leaving this place. I don't know what Matha is plotting. The red-haired staff member who had just escorted Matha outshook his head slightly, but the details regarding investigation requests are classified information. Hearing this, Cheand looked up. The red-haired staff member quickly added, it's nothing too special, actually. She just asked us to confirm whether Duke Cronhart and Miss Winteros will be attending the upcoming banquet. Cheand asked, is there no other information? The staff member quickly added, she also asked me for the seating chart of the banquet, so I told her to come back later this afternoon. Hearing this, Enrica's expression turned serious as she pondered. The hunting banquet? Not just me, but the Duke was invited as well. Even as she left, she was still wondering, what is she planning? Seeing her concern, Cheand quickly approached her and said, don't worry, I've already given instructions. If your sister comes back, they're not to provide her with any information and are to simply send her away. Enrica nodded slightly. Thank you, Cheand. I won't forget your help today. I'll return and pay you appropriately for this information. Cheand said, there's no need for payment, Mississippi. Instead, would you like to become my friend? Enrica asked, bewildered friend. Well, that's not a problem, I suppose. Although he's a bit suspicious, he did help me. While she remained silent, Cheand took it as agreement. He said, all right, let's go then. Enrica looked up and asked, go where? Cheand replied, there's a place I've always wanted to visit with a friend. He quickly led her to a rather bustling area. Enrica gasped, whoa. Then she thought, it's the night market. I didn't know there was a place like this in the city. Behind her, Cheand asked, do you like it, Enrica? Startled, she turned her head and thought, he called me by my name without any honorifics? Cheand, as if oblivious, continued, speaking formally in a place like this would attract too much attention. Besides, we're friends now, right? Cornered, Enrica could only reply, all right. Inwardly, she wondered, why do I have the feeling I'm being swept along? The two of them began strolling through the night market. Along the way, Cheand glanced at Enrica's hat. He then found a wide-brimmed hat of his own and put it on. Afterwards, they went to a fortune teller. The fortune teller said, let's see. She asked, Miss, are you not from this world? A question that left Enrica bewildered, thinking, asterisk, huh? An interesting asterisk. The fortune teller pointed at a card and asked, why feel guilty for taking what belongs to someone else? It was yours from the beginning. Seeing the card, Enrica asked back, huh? What does that mean? The fortune teller didn't explain, but lowered her voice and said, Miss, treat the man who stays by your side well. He's someone willing to give his life for you. Enrica turned to look at Cheand and asked this person, could it be? Hearing this, Cheand chuckled smugly and said, ha, her fortune-telling is quite accurate. The fortune teller pensively hummed. Then she said, here, young man, give me your hand. Just how many women have you been involved with? Cheand, with a glum expression, held out his hand. Upon seeing his hand, the fortune teller clicked her tongue. Tizke, plenty of women, but all this time, you've never truly known love. If you don't end this promiscuous lifestyle soon, I'm afraid you'll never marry. Finally, she offered a piece of advice. If you don't want to live a lonely life, be more honest with yourself, young man. Enrica, a little embarrassed, said, that sounds almost like a curse. At the same time, she pushed Cheand outwards. Ah, well then, we'll excuse ourselves. Under the moonlight, Cheand asked what's wrong. Not interested in the fortune teller, Enrica replied. Even so, saying things like that right in front of someone is a bit much. Like whether or not someone can get married. Before she could finish, he said, it's not necessarily wrong. When Enrica turned back to look at him, Cheand continued, I was born into a conservative, knightly family, destined to live my life as a proper knight. Then, at some point, I just wanted to escape from it all. If the price of a free life is that prophecy, then I'll accept it. Hearing this, Enrica thought, asterisk living an unwanted life just because of family? Sound a bit like me before. Asterisk then she said, you're doing the right thing, Cheand. It's better to live indulgently as a womanizer, a playboy, than to become a holy knight worshipping a god you don't even believe in. Right? Cheand was silent for a few seconds. He suddenly stopped walking and asked, Enrica, do you know the way to completely capture a woman's heart? He smiled and said, it's to never be sincere with her. Enrica brushed him off, saying, excuse me, but it seems to be getting late. Cheand, he asked with a laugh, right? His reaction irritated Enrica slightly. She said, if you're going to say meaningless things, you might as well go home. Inwardly, she thought, how foolish of me to take him seriously even for a moment. Watching her retreating figure, Cheand rubbed his neck and said, so, the chance to capture your heart has slipped away, huh? When Enrica returned home, it was already morning. She sat at the dining table, lost in thought, when she suddenly heard Raphael ask, did you enjoy your outing at dawn? Not hearing a reply, he asked again, Enri? Enrica finally reacted, and the food in her mouth immediately caused her to cough and splutter. Cough, cough. Raphael, seeing this, anxiously asked, oh dear, are you all right? Enrica wondered. Asterisk, how much have I been found out? I clearly returned from the night market without attracting any attention. Asterisk, then she lifted her head and feigned composure, saying, going out? I didn't even leave my room yesterday. What do you mean? Of course you were, Raphael replied with a smile, raising his brow. You were busy wandering around here all night, weren't you? Didn't you appear in my dream this morning, Enri? Enrica wiped her mouth with a napkin, silently relieved. Oh, the dream? Her eyes widened in surprise. I appeared in Kale's dream, she asked hurriedly. What did I do? Raphael closed his eyes. About that, do you really want to hear it? It seems a little too early in the morning to be talking about such things. Enrica's mind immediately jumped to conclusions, her face flushing as she exclaimed, what are you saying now? I didn't think you were that kind of person. Raphael, I'm just teasing. Enrica's face was still red. She wondered, is he a man or a fox? After regaining her composure, Enrica stared at Raphael for a long moment. Then she thought, right, this is the Kale I know. That strange look earlier, it felt like a dream. Seeing her lost in thought, Raphael asked curiously, Enri, is something bothering you? Enrica asked, Kale, do you know how to hunt? Her sudden question made Raphael even more puzzled. Why do you ask that all of a sudden? She lowered her head. Every year at this time, the royal family holds a hunting competition. I wanted to go there for a long time. I want to participate. Is that all right? After a few seconds of silence, Raphael said, if it's what you want, you don't need to ask my permission, Enri. But Duke Cronhart will also be participating in this hunting competition. Hearing this, Enrica's face immediately paled. Raphael continued, it's highly likely I won't be able to attend due to a personal matter. If something were to happen to you, I wouldn't be able to be by your side. Asterisk the Duke is participating. Kale will be absent. And then there's Martha's scheme. What a difficult situation. Asterisk having thought this through, she asked, even so, is there really no way? Raphael said, I have many concerns, but if you're determined to go, it will be best to find someone to escort you. He then led her to a place. This is the night order belonging to the Count's estate. Enrica looked around, observing. Asterisk, I've seen knights walking around the estate a few times, but I didn't know there was a place like this. Asterisk, suddenly, a man with a scar on his face jumped out from the front, exclaiming loudly, You're early, sir? Oh. Enrica was so startled she trembled. Seeing this, Raphael asked solicitously, Enri, are you all right? She replied, Yes, I was just a little surprised. Hearing her say this, Raphael turned and said, Bartles, do you move around without making a sound? You startled my fiancé. Bartles scratched his head. But last time you ordered us to train in suppressing our presence, sir. Raphael's face immediately turned cold. Sensing the killing intent, Bartles quickly said, I apologize. He hurriedly bowed his head. Forgive me, my lady. I am Bartles, Vice Captain of the Light Knights. Enrica smiled and raised her hand. It's a pleasure to meet you, Sir Bartles. He continued, It's an honor to finally meet the captain's fiancée, whom I've only heard stories about. Hearing this, Enrica asked in a low voice, Kale, you're the captain of the knights? He nodded. Yes, I know how to handle a sword a little. At the same time, Bartles suddenly said, Ah, Captain, I've gathered the knights as you instructed. Raphael nodded. Good, let's go. He quickly led Enrica before the knights. Raphael solemnly announced, Some of you may already know, but I will make a formal introduction. This is my fiancée, Lady Enrica Winterrose. The knights stirred at his words. That the rumor true? Captain Coldheart, that heartless, that actually getting married? Enrica felt a little awkward, wondering, what's with this atmosphere? Wait a minute, come to think of it. Nominally, I'm supposed to be the Grand Duke's bride. In their eyes, wouldn't Kale look like he's interfering and stealing me away? As her face flushed at the thought, Raphael continued, So, I'll get straight to the point. Are there any volunteers to become my fiancé's escort? Enrica self-consciously adjusted her wide-brimmed hat. There's no way these knights, who value their honor, would want to be my escort. Their next action, however, surprised her, and did they all just raise their hands? Enrica stammered, what's going on? Raphael spoke loudly, answered truthfully, I guarantee there will be no repercussions. One knight spoke up, we also want to work with the lady. Seeing their eagerness, Enrica covered her mouth with her hand, secretly sympathizing. Meanwhile, they were thinking rather than enduring the captain's hellish training regime. Just looking at her, the lady seems much gentler. Being her escort is 100 times better. Raphael turned and asked, Enri, who do you want to choose? Since they'll be your escort, it's most important that they suit you. Enrica murmured, Thank you for the warm welcome. But then she nodded at Let me see. This is so sudden, so. Raphael interrupted, But if someone catches your eye, that's a different matter. She asked, surprised, huh? What? Raphael lifted her hand and said, Because I'm a very jealous man. His action stunned all the knights for 5 seconds. Enrica, noticing all eyes on them, anxiously said, wait a minute, everyone's looking, Kale. At her worry, the knights had only one thought. This is a warning. Anyone with ulterior motives shouldn't expect to get away with it. Suddenly, someone ran up, looking flustered. Captain, there's an urgent communication from the royal family. You should check it immediately. Raphael turned and said, Enri, I'm sorry, but could you wait for me a moment? She softly replied, Yes, don't worry about me. Please go. Raphael said worriedly, But I can't leave you alone. Then he addressed the knights, Haydn, while I'm gone, please show the lady around. The knight named Haydn immediately replied with delight, Yes, Captain, you can count on me. A while later, in the hallway, he said, It's an honor to escort you, even if only for a short while, my lady. I will do my best to serve you until the captain returns. Although I just removed my trainee badge a month ago, my enthusiasm is second to none. Enrica said softly, Thank you, Haydn. At the same time, she thought, So he's a newly joined knight. He seems very serious. Haydn began to lead her around and explained, This is where we usually train. Enrica exclaimed, Wow, it's huge. He cheerfully added, Most of the practice matches also take place here. If you're lucky, the captain will also participate directly in the training. Enrica nodded, saying, I see. Is the captain skilled? Haydn replied with certainty, "Of course, my lady. The captain is said to be one of the most skilled individuals on the continent. I've never seen him lose." Hearing him say that, Enrica was a little surprised. Really? That much? That's strange. If that's the case, then in the novel, Kale's name should have been mentioned at least once, right? While she was pondering, the other knights were frantically training. When a wooden sword struck a training dummy, the wooden sword immediately snapped in two. A fragment shot straight towards Enrica. She suddenly remembered, that's right, the moment she turned her head. She saw Haydn rushing towards her, quickly shielding her. Before Enrica's surprised eyes, he clutched his arm and knelt down, crying out in pain, "Ugh." She hurriedly bent down and called, "Haydn." The sky gradually darkened. Haydn, now bandaged, had his fractured arm slung across his neck. Enrica said apologetically, "I'm so sorry, Haydn." He smiled and replied, "I'm all right. It's just a small fracture." She lowered her head, feeling remorseful. Even so, for a knight, their arm is their life. I try to use my magic to push it away, but my power is still too weak. If only my magic were a little stronger. While she was blaming herself, Haydn suddenly called out, "Lady Enrica, you really don't need to apologize." He said, "If you are the captain's fiancée, doesn't that mean you will soon become our master? It's only natural for a knight to sacrifice himself to protect his master." Enrica was moved, hesitated for a moment, then asked, "Haydn, would you like to become my knight?" He stared at her blankly for a few seconds, then asked excitedly, Are you serious?" He got out of bed hurriedly and said, "You're not allowed to take that back. Wait, I can't just sit here, I have to do it now. Where's my sword?" After finding his sword, Haydn handed it to Enrica. Then he knelt before her and said, "To become a knight, one must be appointed. Please hold the hilt of the sword and lightly tap my shoulder with the flat of the blade." "Hurry, Lady Enrica." She looked dumbfounded and replied, "I understand." Inwardly, she wondered, is it okay to do it so casually like this? The sword touched Haydn's shoulder, and he solemnly declared, "Son of Brandmeyer, Haydn Everest, my life now belongs to my master." Enrica smiled, that "I'll be counting on you from now on, Haydn." At this moment, there was a noise at the door. A knight named Sasa entered. "Hey, Haydn, is your wound all right?" Saying this, he stared at the sword in Enrica's hand and Haydn's kneeling posture. After being stunned for a few seconds, he grabbed Haydn's shoulder and asked loudly, "Haydn, were you just appointed? You did that even without the captain present." He replied, Hey, it's just a simple formality." Hearing those words, Sasa became even angrier. Simple formality? An appointment isn't something to be done so carelessly. Enrica, hearing the argument, asked a little fearfully, who are you?" Sasa was startled, then quickly turned his head and said, My apologies, my lady. I am Sasa of the Light Knights. My wooden sword broke earlier and almost put you in danger." Hearing him say that, she immediately remembered that, you were the one from earlier. He added, "I truly can't lift my head. I'll report my mistake to the captain and ask for appropriate punishment." Enrica asked, "Is that really necessary?" Even a wooden sword breaking like that shows Sasa must have been practicing countless times. On the contrary, I find it quite impressive. So, don't think about punishment and focus more on training. Let's keep this a secret. Haydn, with tears in his eyes, said, "Sasa, my master is like an angel." Sasa nodded in agreement. "I agree, Haydn." The next day, Enrica and Raphael walked down the hallway. He asked, "So, you mean you've appointed Haydn as your guard?" She nodded slightly, "Yes, that's right." Hearing her answer, Raphael fell silent. Enrica, worried, asked, "Are you angry, Gale, because I decided on my own?" He shook his head, no. Although young, Haydn is a knight of excellent skill and unwavering loyalty. He was also my top candidate when considering assigning a guard to you. But the thought that you were this hasty because you like Haydn as a guard makes me feel a little." Seeing the look of dejection on his face, she thought, "Oh, he looks so sad." Then she said, "Gale, there's something I'd like to ask you." Raphael asked, "You want to learn swordsmanship?" "Seriously, Enri?" She quickly changed into training clothes and picked up a sword. After pausing, she said, "Until my magic is fully restored, I can't rely solely on Gale and Haydn. I think I should at least learn some basic self-defense skills." Raphael nodded. "All right, if that's what you want. First, try swinging the sword lightly." Enrica immediately raised her hand and said loudly, "Yes, master." Then she swung the sword in a straight line, and then shakily asked, How? How was that?" While silently complaining, "So heavy." Raphael observed seriously for a moment. Then he said, "It seems it's best to start with the basics." With that, he stepped forward to adjust her posture, that you'll feel more comfortable holding the sword like this. His warm breath brushed her face, and Enrica's face immediately turned as red as a boiled lobster. Asterisk 2. Close. Asterisk. Her heart also suddenly accelerated. Hearing her heartbeat, Raphael looked up and smiled at her. Then he asked, Enri, I think I hear a heartbeat coming from somewhere. Am I mistaken? Enrica, even more embarrassed, said, If you keep teasing me like this, I won't learn anymore. Raphael embraced her and said, No, you're the one who started this. Near a nearby tree, Hayden muttered, That's amazing, isn't it, Sasa? He asked back, What do you mean? Hayden replied, That captain. I think this is the first time I've seen him smile so freely. Time passed, and evening arrived quickly. After a long day, training finally came to an end. Enrica's whole body felt like it was falling apart. She swayed as she walked back to her room, saying, Ugh, I'm going to die. She then asked herself, why do I have to suffer like this? If I just made a contract with Fremont and regained all my magic, I wouldn't have to deal with all of this myself. Thinking this, her eyes filled with determination. She told herself, today, I have to make a contract no matter what. Having decided, she shouted Fremont. There was no reply from anyone in the room. Enrica was a little suspicious. Asterisk, what's going on? Why is it so quiet? Asterisk. She lit a candle and called again, Fremont, where are you? Suddenly, a voice came from upstairs, Enrica. She looked up. Upstairs, she asked as she walked up the stairs. What is it, Fremont? Why aren't the lights on? The word on had barely left her lips when she froze. Seeing a cat-eared man suddenly appear in the room, Enrica gasped in surprise. The air in the room fell silent. Upon entering, Enrica froze for 5 seconds. Seeing Vremont's naked body, she flinched. Quickly turning around, Enrica yelled, You pervert. Fremont hurriedly called out to her, Hey. Enrica screamed for help. Help me. By this time, Fremont had pinned her to the floor. He tried to reassure her, Hey, calm down, it's me. Enrica anxiously touched Vremont's ears. A moment later, after the misunderstanding was cleared up, Enrica asked, So, is this your true form, Fremont? Fremont tapped his foot and said, How many times do I have to say it? Enrica asked curiously, Then why were you in the form of a cat before? Was it to look cute? Fremont immediately retorted, What are you saying? It was the most efficient way to control my magic. But now I don't have enough mana to maintain that basic transformation spell anymore, so I've reverted to my original form. At this point, Fremont felt uncomfortable. He clutched his head and cried out, causing Enrica to call out worriedly, Fremont, what's wrong? Are you in pain? As Enrica looked on in bewilderment, Fremont thought to himself, The scent of pure magic power. I've reached my limit now. After a moment of holding his head and pondering, Fremont finally spoke. Let's make a contract, Enrica Winterso. Hearing these words, Enrica was stunned. Huh? Why so suddenly? Fine, but you're so capricious. Immediately, Enrica pushed all other thoughts aside and thought to herself, No, I have to settle this quickly before Fremont changes his mind. Then she said aloud, So, what do we have to do to make a contract? Fremont replied, I have to absorb your magic power. Your scent is so delicious, Winterso. As soon as he finished speaking, Fremont darted towards Enrica. Her body reacted strangely. Enrica clenched her hands and wondered, Is this the method to absorb magic power? After biting Enrica's neck, a few drops of blood remained on Vremont's lips. He then slowly fell to the ground. At this moment, a bright light radiated from Enrica. The light shone brightly for a moment before gradually fading. Fremont said, Now we're connected by blood. Congratulations on becoming a true mage, master. After he finished speaking, the atmosphere became silent. For a moment, looking at Fremont, Enrica thought to herself, Asterisk, I never imagined this was Vremont's true form. It's quite a shock, but perhaps because he's a demon, he looks rather handsome. Asterisk, suddenly, Fremont seemed to realize something was amiss. He asked, What is it? Could it be that you've fallen for me, master? Enrica immediately denied it. No. Inwardly, she thought, still as obnoxious as ever. Fremont said, Speaking of which, I heard you'll be participating in the hunting competition, right? Enrica asked in surprise. How did you know? Fremont explained, I overheard the knights in the mansion talking about it. I don't understand why you'd go to such a dangerous place, especially with your frail body. Enrica added, That's why I just made a contract with you. Fremont said with a hint of worry, Even if you've signed a contract with me, it doesn't mean you can use magic right away, especially for someone like you, with strong magic power but pathetic skills. So, don't be reckless, and be careful not to get lost in the forest. First, I'll teach you a simple fire spell. If your body temperature drops, use it. I'll also teach you a recognition spell to distinguish between edible and inedible plants. And most importantly, there's one thing you must remember. If you want to summon me, make a small cut like the one on your neck now and let it bleed. No matter when, no matter where, I will appear. Enrica asked back, dissatisfied. Why blood? I hate pain. Fremont replied. I don't want my master to suffer either. But don't forget, because there may come a time when even a single drop of blood can save your life. The next morning, Sarah stood before Enrica. She said, I apologize for being stubborn and wanting to stay, my lady. I thought you would need me. Enrica took her hand and replied, It's all right, Sarah. A few days prior, upon hearing that she would be participating in the hunting competition, Sarah had said that she wanted to stay at the Count's mansion. At the time, she said there was something she absolutely had to do. I don't know what it is, but I couldn't do anything but accept it. It must be Sarah's personal business. Then Enrica reassured her. Besides, the knights here will escort me, so don't worry too much. Sarah replied, I see. Sarah glared at the knights and said, Please take care of my lady. If even a single scratch appears on that beautiful face, I fear my heart will ache. Hayden, also intimidated, replied, Of course, you can rest assured. Soon, everyone boarded the carriage and departed. Sitting in the carriage, Sarah asked, Is something troubling you, my lady? You seem melancholic. Enrica smiled. I'm fine, Sarah. She recalled what Gale had said earlier. Duke Cronhart will be attending this banquet, so it's highly likely I won't be able to participate. Enrica looked out the window, lost in thought. And Kale isn't here either. With the Duke possibly being there, I'm very worried. But if I want to know what Matha is planning, I have no other choice. Even if I unfortunately run into the Duke, what can he do to me in the middle of a hunting banquet full of nobles? That's right, nothing will happen. Not long after, at the hunting banquet encampment, Enrica arrived. Whistling, she thought, wow, the atmosphere is better than I expected. Enrica then ran off and said to Hayden, Hayden, I'll go for a walk around here. Hayden replied, Yes, Lady Enrica. I'll change my armor and follow right behind you. As soon as he finished speaking, Enrica ran off elsewhere. After walking for a while, she stopped in front of a small squirrel and a rabbit nearby, and the three of them acted like fools. Just then, a strong gust of wind blew, and Enrica suddenly realized, I've wandered too far without noticing. Could it be that I've lost Hayden? I have to go back. Just as she thought this, the sound of horse hooves echoed, approaching her. Enrica quickly turned her head. Before her stood a knight in imposing armor. Now, we delve into Raphael's thoughts. Regularly attending events hosted by the royal family is the duty of a Grand Duke. But for me, it's hardly an enjoyable schedule. Behind the guise of royal events lie hidden agendas and political games of the nobility that always tire me. So, Enrica's words, under normal circumstances, would have annoyed me. But why is it different this time? Why do I feel this reluctance to disappoint her? It's been a while since I last received a report on her whereabouts from the person secretly following her. I hear she often takes advantage of the early dawn to busily move around. She must have gathered information about the hunting banquet from that. But strangely, even though I know she's hiding something from me, I don't want to stop these dangerous outings. Because what she's doing is related to the effort to lift my curse. That makes me feel a certain sweetness. The fact that she thinks of me and acts for me, to me. Not long before, at the royal palace, Raphael was stirring his tea, then picked up the spoon and stared at it for a moment. Malua entered and announced, Your Grace, His Majesty summons you to the audience chamber. Raphael immediately set down his teacup and said, All right, let's go. And Malua, as soon as the audience is over, prepare my horse and armor. I have somewhere I need to be. Malua asked worriedly, What? But what if His Majesty looks for you during the banquet? Raphael replied, Just have Bacchus stay by the king's side. He'll know how to handle it. Just tell him I've gone deep into the forest to hunt. Malua adjusted her glasses and said, But if you're not careful, you could lose His Majesty's trust. Your Grace, where are you going? Raphael paused for a beat, then turned his head and said, I'm going to Enrica. I have a bad feeling. Back in the present, Enrica still didn't know who was before her. She asked, Who is it? Raphael slowly removed his helmet. It was then that she exclaimed in surprise, Kale. Raphael smiled and said, Are you surprised, Enri? Enrica asked, puzzled, How did you get here? You said you had other business to attend to. Raphael dismounted his horse and said, I just finished a little early. Besides, I was worried about you. Enrica asked anxiously, Huh? What about Hayden? Raphael replied, He seemed quite looking forward to this hunt. It's a shame he's probably resting now. Enrica immediately asked, Wait, did you sneak in and replace Hayden? Raphael, feeling irritated, said, You mention Hayden with every sentence. Since when did the two of you become so close? Am I not worth looking forward to? With that, he got back on his horse and started to leave. If that's the case, I'll just go back. I'll call Hayden for you, as you wish. Enrica quickly stopped him. Huh? Wait. Don't go. She stammered, I don't know what happened, but in any case, I'm very happy that Kale came. So please don't go. Raphael, no longer sulking, dismounted his horse and sighed. Honestly, I really can't win against you. Kale, Enrica stammered. Why would you suddenly? There was something in Kale's cloak. Raphael, looking at the cloak, said, You mean this? It's a rabbit I found in the forest. I thought you might like it. Enrica, delighted, exclaimed, It's so cute. She pointed at the rabbit and said, If you release it back into the wild safely. Raphael continued, I was planning to use it to help you practice hunting. Enrica froze for 5 seconds. Seeing this, he quickly retracted his statement. Just pretend you didn't hear that. Then, Raphael released the rabbit. Enrica watched the rabbit hop away, saying, Well, it's a shame we have to part ways here because I don't know what he'll do to you next. Suddenly, the rabbit stopped, startling Enrica. In Enrica's eyes, the rabbit suddenly seemed strange. A voice echoed in her ear, Be careful of your surroundings. Finally, the rabbit hopped away for good. Enrica, regaining her composure, pointed after it and asked, Kale, did you hear that just now? The rabbit spoke. Raphael looked bewildered. Huh? What do you mean? Enrica asked again, Kale, who didn't hear it? It really spoke. Raphael said, Oh, well, perhaps. This forest is called the Forest of Souls. Since ancient times, it's been royal territory, so it's rarely disturbed. And they say many mystical creatures are still preserved here. Some mages can understand the language of magical beasts. Maybe we just encountered one of them. So what did the rabbit say to you, Enri? Enrica hesitated. Well, it told me to be careful of my surroundings. Just then, a scream echoed nearby. Both of them noticed and turned towards the sound. Enrica wondered, what was that sound? Raphael replied, I'm not sure. We should probably go to where the sound came from. To investigate. Enri, you should return to the camp. Enrica immediately protested. No, I'm coming too, Kale. She thought to herself, this might be related to Mata. Immediately, they mounted their horses and rode off. As they rode, Raphael stated, the sound definitely came from this direction. Indeed, as soon as he finished speaking, the sound rang out again. A group of knights rode by, shouting, Run. There's no time to hesitate. A red-haired knight tried to calm the others. Everyone, please stay calm. Raphael rode up to them and called out, Hey, what's going on? The red-haired knight yelled, Monster! There's a monster! Raphael pressed, A monster? Are you sure? Where are the casualties? The knight replied, Fortunately, it doesn't seem to have directly attacked anyone yet, but there were several witnesses, including those who just fled. Raphael ordered that it can't have gone far. Call those witnesses here. The knight replied, Yes, sir. Enrica finally spoke up. Kale, shouldn't we report this to the royal family and stop the banquet? He replied, Normally, yes, but the current king is rather old-fashioned. The hunting banquet is one of the largest events hosted by the royal family. They'll definitely want to hide the fact that such a major incident occurred from the nobility. Enrica asked worriedly, Then what should we do? He replied, In the current situation, the best course of action is to deal with the monster discreetly. First, I'll take you back to the camp. At that moment, Raphael seemed to realize something. An arrow flew towards them, and Raphael quickly shielded Enrica, yelling, Duck, Enri! The arrow then lodged itself into a large tree behind them. Seeing it, Enrica was frightened and an arrow. Nearby, a group of people in black robes appeared. Seeing Raphael, they shouted, It's definitely him. Kill him. Raphael drew his sword and said, Henry, I apologize for this. As soon as he finished speaking, his sword struck one of the black-robed figures. Seeing Raphael run, they yelled again, Don't let them escape. Enrica, held in his arms, asked, Who are they? And what do they mean by kill? Raphael replied, They must be assassins targeting me. I'm not certain at the moment, but it's highly likely they were sent by the first prince. Enrica was astonished. What? Why would the first prince target Kale? Raphael explained, I'm one of the second prince's supporters, not his. I apologize for dragging you into this. Enrica pondered. Asterisk if it's the second prince. Then that's the original story's male lead who was bewitched to the point of madness by Sophia herself. Kale supports him. Asterisk at that moment. An assassin aimed a bow at them. When the arrow struck the ground, their horse bucked violently. They both began to lose their balance. Raphael held Enrica tightly, yelling, Henry, and they both fell to the ground and tumbled down a slope. Meanwhile, Enrica worried, We can't stop. Where are we going to end up? Raphael managed to grab onto a rock. Enrica gasped for breath. She sighed in relief. Phew, we stopped. But when she looked again, they were dangling precariously over a waterfall. Enrica became even more frightened and cried out, Kale. Let go of me, Kale. You don't have to put yourself in danger like this. Raphael still had a smile on his lips. What if I don't want to, Henry? Enrica yelled, I'm not joking. You can climb up on your own. Raphael's expression remained unchanged. Enrica grew more frustrated that I'll survive with magic no matter what. Raphael's grip on the rock finally gave way. They both plummeted downwards. Even so, Raphael whispered in Enrica's ear, "Don't worry, Henry. I will protect you." Enrica held him tightly. They plunged into the water below. In a daze, Enrica slowly regained consciousness. She looked around, wondering, "Where am I? I clearly just fell into the water with Kale." Suddenly, she heard voices nearby. When she went to look, Enrica was astonished. That's me. But it's not just me. The person next to me. Could it be? At that moment, the Enrica in front of her spoke. "Your Highness, I never imagined you would be so different from the rumors." Raphael asked, "What rumors have you heard about me?" Enrica was silent for a moment, then said, "I heard that you killed all your brothers in the struggle for the throne and became the Grand Duke." Raphael said, "It's a shame, but that's the truth." "Anything else?" She replied, "I heard you enjoy the sight of blood and are a very violent, cruel person. I also heard that the reason you married me was only because you needed a plaything to torment at will." Raphael stood up and said, "It's true. My ruthlessness is undeniable. But I promise you, specifically, will never have to face that side of me." Enrica asked, puzzled, "Why is that?" Raphael whispered in her ear, "That's because to me you—" Before he could finish his sentence, someone repeatedly called out to her. Back in the present, Raphael was incredibly worried. He kept calling Henry, Henry. Enrica slowly regained consciousness. She sat up, looking around, wondering just now, "I think I dreamt something." Raphael immediately embraced her tightly. He breathed a sigh of relief. "Thank goodness. I was so worried something might have happened to you." Enrica expressed her gratitude. "Thank you for saving me. But I'm a little sore." Realizing he was hugging her too tightly, Raphael quickly loosened his grip. "I apologize." Enrica asked, "Now that you mention it, where are we?" He replied, "Due to the strong currents, it seems we've been swept quite far. This isn't the hunting grounds." Enrica trembled with worry. "What? Are we lost? Do we have to live in this forest for the rest of our lives?" Raphael gave a wry smile. "Well, that's not a bad suggestion. However, unfortunately, my knights and I are very familiar with the terrain of this forest. Returning won't be a big problem. What's more concerning now is..." Suddenly, Enrica froze. "Kale, behind you." Raphael immediately turned around. Well, speak of the devil. A monster was charging towards them. The monster growled ferociously. Raphael drew his sword, standing in front of her. Should I be grateful that it saved me the trouble of searching?" Another sound came from behind Enrica, and she turned around. Seeing yet another monster, she cried out, "Enrica, behind you, too." Not giving Enrica a chance, it lunged. In an instant, it seized Enrica. She trembled, thinking its breath. Those petty offensive magic spells are only going to anger it. Is there any way to deal with this? She recalled her earlier conversation with Vermin. She called out, "Vermin, I'm grateful you taught me magic before the hunting competition, but did it really have to start with these books?" Vermin sighed. "If you want to build a solid foundation in magic, you have to start at this level." Enrica asked, "Can't monsters walk in places without shadows?" Vermin replied, "That's right. Most monsters share the weakness of being vulnerable to light. If you use light magic, you can subdue monsters to a certain extent, even with a small amount of power. Even with your poor skills, you can do it." Back in the present, Enrica cast a light magic spell on her hand. That's right, the light magic I learned from Vermin. Light wove through Raphael's sword. Then a magic circle appeared in front of her, repelling the monster and escaping its claws. Raphael immediately rushed in, delivering a decisive blow. Enrica slowly fell towards the ground. Raphael rushed forward to catch her and asked, "Are you all right? Are you hurt anywhere?" Enrica replied, "I'm fine. Thank you, Kale." Raphael set her down and said, "Rest here for a moment, Henry. I'll deal with the other monster." Raphael stood up and turned towards the monster. Then, a sword stroke neatly finished off the monster. The monster's head was also severed. Raphael stood triumphantly before the monster. Suddenly, the monster's head moved. It lunged straight towards Raphael and bit his hand. Enrica cried out in alarm, "Kale." Raphael quickly knocked the monster's head away. However, his hand had already suffered some inevitable injuries. Enrica immediately ran over. "Kale, are you all right?" Her eyes became tinged with sadness. She asked, "Kale, your hand." Raphael maintained his smile towards her. "This much is nothing. More importantly, you weren't hurt anywhere, were you?" Seeing two streams of tears rolling down her beautiful face, Raphael froze. Enrica wiped her tears as she spoke. "I shouldn't have asked to join the hunting banquet. I'm just a burden, and I even caused Kale to get hurt." Raphael reached out his hand and gently wiped away the tears on her cheek. Oh dear, Henry, I didn't save you to see a face like this. Please don't cry for me. Enrica nodded repeatedly. Give me your hand, Kale. I've learned healing magic, so I can help a little. Raphael hesitated that. When she saw the wound, Enrica was astonished. Huh? Why does it look worse than before? Raphael explained. That monster from earlier belongs to a species that creates poison by eating Cheand fruit. It seems like the poison is spreading throughout my body. Enrica exclaimed in surprise. Poison? Raphael put his cloak back on her and said, the poison from the Cheand fruit isn't the kind that harms the human body. It's more like a hallucinogen, so it's often used as a truth serum. Enrica breathed a sigh of relief. If it doesn't harm the body, that's a relief, even if it's used as a truth serum. Kale isn't hiding anything from me, so it'll be all right. Right? At this, Raphael just gave a slight smile. Unfortunately, not long after, it began to pour, with rain. Watching Raphael shiver and twitch, she worried herself. What should I do? Even if it's said to be harmless to the body, his condition seems to be getting worse. Enrica offered some herbs and said, Kale, please eat this. I found a fever-reducing herb and prepared it. Raphael replied, Thank you, Henry. Enrica continued, and please don't push yourself so hard. Why don't you lie down and rest for a bit? He said, I don't want to. If I fall asleep like this, I'm sure I'll say nonsense because of the poison. Her face was filled with worry that I'll understand everything, even if you curse or treat me badly, because this poison is a hallucinogen. That's not your true nature, right? You need to get enough rest to quickly overcome the poison or whatever it is, right? Please lie down first. He was finally persuaded, his hand touching Enrica's. He said, even if I become a little, very strange, don't leave my side, okay? The forest can be dangerous at night. She replied warmly, all right, I promise. Quickly, Raphael fell asleep after a long, tiring day. Enrica breathed a sigh of relief. Phew, he's fallen asleep, hasn't he? Now that the tension is gone, I'm sleepy too. I need to close my eyes for a bit. Enrica looked towards him and smiled. Get well soon, Kale. Not long after, Enrica gradually opened her eyes and woke up. She rubbed her eyes. What? How long have I been asleep? As soon as she opened her eyes, she saw Raphael pointing his sword at her. Enrica's eyes widened. Gee, Gale, why are you doing this? Raphael asked coldly. Who are you? Enrica panicked. What? This isn't funny. Raphael's voice was ICYD. Oh, I look like I'm joking. I'll ask one last time. Who are you? Enrica fell into deep thought. Asterisk, is this a side effect of the poison Gale mentioned? No way, is it amnesia again? Asterisk. Enrica placed a hand on her chest and replied, I'm Enrica Winterso, your fiancé. You even injured your hand trying to save me. Do you really not remember? Raphael immediately cut her off. Lies. Fiancé? And you say I was injured saving you? I would never do such a thing. Enrica broke out in a cold sweat. This is driving me crazy. Beneath the whispering rain, his voice continued. You look innocent, but are you actually an assassin? What's your purpose in kidnapping me and bringing me to such a damp and gloomy place? Enrica tried to explain. Kidnap? It's not like that. What do you remember? What day is it? Do you know how old you are? Raphael's voice remained cold. Are you taking me for a fool now? I just turned 18 this year. Enrica thought to herself, asterisk 18? This isn't just simple amnesia, it's regression. He's lost almost 4 years of memories. Asterisk, she pointed towards the outside and said, listen carefully. You're 22 years old now, not 18. This is the forest of the hunting banquet. It seems you've lost your memory due to the poison from the monster that ate the Cheand fruit when you were trying to save me. Raphael glared. And you expect me to believe that? Is there any way to prove you're my fiancé? Enrica mumbled, a way to prove it. She thought, asterisk, what should I do? Can I tell him about Gale's curse? Asterisk. Asterisk, but if I mention the curse to Gale, who's this violent? I might be mistaken for a spy. One wrong move, and I could lose my life. Asterisk, she stammered. A love that needs proof? You give me jewelry and dresses every day. You even gave me a room in the mansion before we were married. You wouldn't show such favor to someone you weren't in love with, right? He growled. I don't remember any of that right now. So there's no objective proof that you're my fiancé, is there? Enrica cried out in despair, because the memories between us are the proof. Raphael swung his sword. That's quite a story. I'll let you die peacefully. Along with her scream, a bolt of lightning struck. Enrica slowly opened her eyes in terror. Raphael clutched his head in pain. Enrica rushed to him anxiously. Are you all right? What should we do? It seems there's still poison in your system. You suddenly wielded your sword and overexerted yourself, that's why. Lean on me. Enrica then busily checked his temperature, then his temperament, and then his wound. Raphael, now also examining himself, had such a worried expression. For someone who just pointed a sword at my throat? You said you're my fiancé, right? Enrica replied, yes. Raphael continued, so you love me too, right? The question left Enrica momentarily speechless. Raphael moved closer to her face and continued, so I can kiss you now, right? Enrica's face flushed red. Quiche, if I refuse, he'll definitely be suspicious. Raphael moved even closer. All right then. As their lips were about to touch, Raphael stared intently at her. Enrica, blushing, pouted her lips like a puppy. Truly a bashful beauty. This made him chuckle. He said, perhaps I really do have a fiancé. All right, I don't have the energy to deal with you anymore. I need to get some shut-eye. Enrica froze, stiff as a board. Huh? You're just going to sleep? Raphael turned around and asked, what? Do you feel regretful? Enrica yelled, no way. Inwardly, she thought, he's acting exactly like he used to. A while later, Enrica checked his temperature again. She thought to herself, since he was joking around, I thought he was feeling better, but his fever hasn't gone down at all. She saw Raphael breathing heavily. Enrica's worry deepened. What should I do? What if he doesn't remember? No, I can't think like that in front of a sick person. First, I need to focus on helping Gail recover. Raphael stirred, turning to look at her with a puzzled expression. He said, this is the first time someone's taken care of me when I'm sick. Enrica's expression turned serious. She asked, what kind of life did you live when you were 18? He replied, most of the time was spent fighting. My siblings and servants were all trying to kill me. And seeing as I'm still alive now, it means I won the right to take over the family. Enrica offered praise. That's right. Now you live in a beautiful mansion and have accumulated a lot of wealth and fame. Raphael sat up and said, I don't care about those things. But what I'm curious about is, am I strong enough now to protect you? Enrica's lips parted, her heart blossoming as she said, of course, you're my savior. Seeing this lovely sight, Raphael was utterly surprised. His heart felt like springtime. He said, all right, that's enough. If you truly are my fiancé, if you love me, then you're the only one that matters to me. Stay by my side until death. After that, we talked a lot, starting from Gail's and my current lives, to small things like the weather, food, or habits we enjoyed. Gail at 18, though gruff, was a bit naive. He was quite clumsy at hiding his emotions, which made him a little endearing. Enrica looked at him and murmured, so, what did you say to me back then, Gail? As long as I'm by your side, you won't die. Your curse will surely be broken. You'll live much longer than me. Thank you for watching today's video. Our story continues with many exciting developments ahead, so don't forget to like and subscribe to support us and not miss the latest episodes. We wish you relaxing and enjoyable moments. See you in the next video. Thank you for watching.